Welcome, YouTube world, to the Junk Family. We are back. And today we've diving into what's really like being in the junk removal game, how we're viewed, what people think we do, and why this industry deserves way more respect than it gets. We ain't just trash haulers, we're therapists, movers, problem solvers, and sometimes part time relationship counselors. So let's get into it, guys. How is everybody doing tonight?
Good, good,
Heyo.
good.
Good, good. Yes, sir.
Thank you for having us on the show. Mr. Yee Yee checking in.
Hell yeah, we got people from all over the country right now. We're checking
Uh-huh.
in. We got PA in the house over there with Adam. We got Kevin. You're in Louisiana, is it?
Georgia.
Georgia. My bad, bro.
Yeah,
My bad.
close
Mhm.
enough. Close enough.
And then we
Uh-huh.
got the 707 connection. We got my man Jeff. We got Mr. Yee Yee, the best
Mhm.
co-host in the game.
Hello.
So what is up, fellas? Let's get into it. So the topic of the night, the main topic I want to kind of just talk on is like, how does society look at us? Like owning a junk removal company. Do we get respect? Are we looked down upon? What is your guys' experience with that?
We are like one level above scrappers. We are like the drudge of society. So if you come across articulate and intelligent, you've already like transcended what people expect. Like when I show up with like teeth and like, you like know what you're talking about, people are like ecstatic.
He said when he show up with teeth.
With cheese.
I think people still look at junk removal as out here in California. I think people still look at junk removal. Some people as laborers. And when you show up with those trailers, those beautiful trucks, those beautiful trailers, and your gear and everything, it's just like they're shell shocked. But I still think that junk removal is looked at as laborers until you run into the right client.
So do you get like the same respect as like a plumber would or an electrician?
I think that you get, electrician is a plumber, someone who's different than junk removal. They have set prices, and you can go over there and smack them in the face with the price. But then when we come in with the price, it might be a little bit. Well, I might be able to get that cheaper, or someone left a tag on my door says you can donate this, and they a lot of people will love to chop our prices down. So that's why I say go in there and hit them with those Kimball slice prices.
I think I think a big thing is too, and the home service industry, like you're talking about the plumbers and the people like that. Um, it's more of like a skilled trade. So like junk removal, like when it comes to actual picking up trash, there's really no skill involved. So I feel like people when they call you out there, they kind of, I don't want to say assume that about you, but when they call painters or carpenters, these guys are skilled in their craft. Junk removal, we can get skilled in different ways, but actual performing the work, I feel like there's really no skill involved. So that's why we kind of get a little flack, I think.
Kevin, what's your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I kind of agree with Jeff, but at the same time, I think a lot of people do see us as like contractors because when you go in there, they have the same trust issues as with any type of contractor that comes in their home. They don't know what to expect. That's why it's important to be more customer service oriented because they're not used to that. They're used to contractors going in there and not, being customer service focused. So, you each individual company is always going to be viewed differently. Like in my community, I'm kind of I live in a small town, so before junk removal, the people that were out here just gave junk removal a bad name, and just beat up trucks and trailers and bad reputations and horrible Google reviews. Where I'm being seen as a local celebrity. People run into me. Went into a pizza place to waiting for some pizza. I grabbed a beer, and I had a city councilman come over and introduce himself because he had seen me on Facebook and he's seen the things that I do for the community, and introduced himself, bought me a beer. And I run into people all the time. People from Parks and Recreation call me out. The Chamber of Commerce loves me. They love having me come out to talk to doing different events, and it's
Kevin,
it,
I have a question.
shoot.
Are you still on the truck? like day to day behind the wheel, jumping off and getting those boots dirty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. You got to remember, even though I was with 1-800 Got Junk for over 10 years, I started my own business just a little over a year ago. And my I'm not trying to grow the business to scale it. I do better with the consulting and the trainings that I do and everything else. Um,
Mm.
I don't, a lot of you guys know that, I am a cancer survivor. I do have Lynch syndrome, which, makes me highly susceptible to more cancer. So I don't have a whole lot of time on this earth. So I doing a lot of other things, to finish my bucket list, things that I want to do, write books, start businesses, do the speeches and everything. I don't have a lot of time. So I'm trying to create a legacy, and doing the junk removal job is basically a part-time for me, because there's other things that I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to be a leader in the community. I'm trying to be a leader in the junk community. That to me is more important. I've already had success. Right now, I'm just looking to be significant.
I
Well, you're
love it,
doing
and I
that,
want to.
man. God bless you.
Hell yeah, Kevin! Really, really inspirational with that. I want to comment on what you were saying. As far as people looking at you as a contractor and all. I haven't got that same feeling. I've been in contracting back in the day. I used to help out one of my buddies, kind of partnered up with him. And, I didn't do the labor part, but I would bring in a lot of business and all. And, when I would tell them I was a contractor, people, the eyebrow would go up and they look at you and they're impressed right away. When I say junk removal now, it's kind of like they kind of just looking. It's kind of like this weird reaction I get, and it's not. I'm used to any time when people ask what I do and I tell them, usually people are like, oh, and they're looking at me in a different way. When I say marijuana, everybody's like, oh my God, like, it's a sexy business. Everybody wants to hear more about it. So I've been always around those kind of businesses everybody wants to get in. So, I always get that cool factor. Recently, I'm experiencing a little different reaction, and they kind of look at you sideways and kind of like look you up and down, and I feel like they're not looking at me as in a powerful position and kind of like looking beneath me in a way. Do you guys ever feel that in any kind of situation?
It also probably depends on, what stages you're at in that business. Where you're looking at 1-800 Got Junk, they know they're a huge conglomerate, throughout the United States, Canada, Australia. You know, seeing you on the truck doesn't make you look that powerful position yet, but at the same time, you have powerful branding. You have the new truck, you have the branding, you're doing it the right way. So, it's a whole lot different from somebody with a beat up pickup truck and an old trailer that's, rusted out and no decals on it and anything. So the perception for you is probably a lot different because you're starting off strong. Yes, people, that in powerful positions, they probably look at that and like, oh, but he's on the truck, he's actually doing the physical labor, not knowing the reasoning behind it. So it's probably, there's going to be different observations when it comes to that.
I definitely agree with that. And that brings me to this. And it's, do you embrace the trash man label, or do you flip it into powerful branding like you just said? Are you like proud to like let everybody know in the area I'm the local junk man, or is it more like, I'm the forget about it guy that's building that brand and all that? I'd like to hear everybody's answer on that one. And
For
what's up,
me,
Peyton? How you doing, brother? Welcome. Peyton just came in from JT Junk Solutions in
Shout
Texas.
out.
What up? What up? Can you guys hear me?
Love what they're
Yes.
doing. Love what they're
you
doing.
know,
Cool.
so for me, I embrace it, dude. Like I always tell people, and I'm telling you, if you deliver this line candidly with the right level of seriousness, and you just say, when you think of that annoying pile of shit, think of me. I'm telling you, you get a laugh every time, and people really do think of you. Like when they have something they want to get rid of, like, dude, I'm the guy who gets rid of everything.
Peyton, what's your thoughts on this whole topic that we're talking about?
My favorite comment we've ever gotten was "You go, trash people" or something like that. Uh, I don't. I like someone said branding is definitely a major key, and I agree. And like a lot of what Kevin said, it's like it's about the presence that you bring. Um, we posted our jobber thing today. Like just having like a simple CRM, I think like really changes the game. So it like sets an expectation that when I get to a client's house, they've already gotten like branded emails, branded text messages, branded invoices, branded this, branded that. Granted, I don't have a branded truck yet. I don't know how you guys spend so much money on those wraps. I'm gonna wait until I get my dump truck, but yeah, I think it just comes down to branding and the way that you present yourself. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
a lot of times perception can be bigger than what the business actually is.
Perception's
That
reality.
that and that's the way to do it, especially if you're starting off small, is be perceived as bigger. I once worked at a commercial laundry years ago, and the owner wanted to sell the business, but it wasn't, he was a small business and everything else. So we worked to create the illusion of a large company, phone line, several phone lines, really great branding, we just went full blast looking like a large company, and we were able to sell the business at a huge profit because of that. It just
Very
made it
nice.
sexier.
I like that. And so that also brings me up, Mr. Yee, I want you to bring up your question, man, that we were talking about with as far as truck or trailer, because this kind of ties in with the whole topic and all.
Does it matter if you have a truck or trailer? Some of us have those beautiful dump trucks. Some of us have those beautiful trailers. Some of us have utility trailers. But is the situation better, as in working less but charging more? Or you know what I mean, like a guy who has a bigger trailer, but the other guy who has a smaller trailer, but is also getting the same price and working less, but making just as much as you in your big dump truck or dump trailer. So I'm kind of figuring that out now myself. Is having the big boy trailer, as I've been thinking, is the best thing for me, because I can go knock one job out, camel hump. I'm the king of the camel humps. But is it actually better to have a smaller and still charge the same price? Hello, speak
But,
on that, Jeff. Speak on that.
but hold
Speak
on.
on that.
But I want to explain though, like, what do you mean do you mean the perception to the client, or like as far as like what can you charge as looking more professional, or like is it just an overall who's going to make more money? You know what I mean? That small trailer that's 14 yards, or the NPR dump truck that's 14 yards, the exact same size. Is that what
I
you mean by that question?
Yes, I
Okay.
think the perception. I think the perception is honestly what I go through, and what I've had experienced is a lot of clients don't even really even care about how it looks. They care about that price you just hit them with. You hit them with the right price. They don't even care how your situation looks. But if you can if you can have this big beautiful piece of equipment that's smaller but also makes just as much as money or more than that other bigger trailer, you know what I mean? But that's just I don't know if I'm going off topic or the
Is
wrong
there
answer.
anyone in is there anyone in here that has both of them, that has did both, started with a trailer, now's got the dump truck? Jeff, perfect. Let's start off with you, brother.
So I mean, it can go either way. I'm a big advocate on no matter what you pull up in. I mean, a lot of the times, like Yee Yee, shout out to the 707 connection. The customer just
Just
wants.
one second, Jeff. You're really breaking up. Like it sounds like a robot or something. If you could play with the service or something. It's just this is such a good topic. I don't want to miss this, man. This is good stuff we're waiting to hear.
It's probably just because the mic was on the table or whatever.
Or it might be a little windy for him, I think.
Okay. Kevin, you were about to say something with that. Can you tell us your
Well,
thoughts? On that?
it doesn't really matter what size trailer you have. If you have the smaller trailer and you want to charge more, you better bring the value with it. You have to establish that value with that customer, because it doesn't matter what size trailer you have. That price is only going to be an issue in the absence of value. And you have to be able to establish that value. You actually have to create a solution for the customer. The customer calls you because they have a challenge. It's as simple as that. whether it be time, it with space or effort on their part, you have to be able to find out what their challenge is, offer them that solution, and that gives them value. Without that, you can charge a lot less than somebody or a lot more than somebody. Without that value, it's just worthless, and you're going to end up, you may get the job because they're desperate and they have to do it, but are they going to use you again? Do you have that lifetime value? Probably not. Are they going to refer you to their friends, family, and coworkers? Probably not. They'll pay it because they're desperate, but you're not going to have that repeat customer. You have to have value. Doesn't matter what size trailer, doesn't matter you have decals, no decals, NPR truck, dump truck, utility trailer, enclosed trailer. It doesn't matter if you don't bring that value.
Okay, and Sarah says most customers don't understand cubic yards. They understand loads and cost per load. Bigger isn't always better, in my opinion.
That's
But
what I was. That's what I was trying to speak on. That's what I was saying is that I'm doing a shit ton of work with the big 15 cubic yard trailer, but then there's some of my guys that have a 12 cubic yard dump truck, but they're charging as much as I'm getting, and
I get
and
what you're saying.
Right.
I
they're
didn't take it the right way. What you
you
were
see what I'm
saying, bro.
saying? I couldn't word it the right way until Kevin kind of broke it down that way,
Yeah.
and then
Paul,
Sarah
what's
said that. So my thing is that if you can go to someone's house, work for less time, but you're getting the same money that I'm getting for a 15 cubic yard trailer,
Yeah.
I might need to step my game up and say, hey, wait a minute,
maybe
I,
you
I don't
do.
need the big I don't need the big
Can you
boys
guys-
anymore like this.
Paul, what size
Am I
truck do you
good?
have? Is it a 15 cubic yards?
No, so
Can I
it's
hit on this one?
it's we say it's 12, but it's 11, some 11 7, 11 8 or something like that. It's almost 12.
So out
And
here in
the whole reason why that is when you do that custom NPR and they put that toolbox in there, that takes away 2 yards with that toolbox in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be a 14.
Right.
so I think
But
Northern
I
California.
gotta say, the one thing that I've noticed is just like Sarah says, nobody ever asks the yards. Never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Never.
And they always look at the NPR in my eyes as the biggest truck. So, that trailer like Mr. Yee has is probably bigger than my truck, but the perception is the NPR dump truck is bigger. So I get what you're saying with that, brother.
And I'm doing more work and taking more time on the job than the NPR pulls up, and you load it up and you almost got the same price I got with my trailer.
Well, it goes both ways.
Maybe you
'cause
maybe
your
need some better
Can I hit
training,
on this one?
maybe.
your trailer's a lot lower, remember though, too,
Yeah,
man. So,
yeah.
Can I hit
But
on
I'm
this
trying.
one before?
I'm trying to jump in with less work and faster work, and if
And
I can
bigger
make more
paycheck.
money.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. And because I like to get the job done in one load. And my boy Jeff knows this personally. We'll take the whole house in one load. We'll camel hump it, get the yellow straps. Let's go. We're I'm talking about. We're not going to the dump unless we got a camel hump. Look out for the shirts. They're coming
But
pretty
there's
soon.
there's something that has to be talked about with that, bro. What did you pay for your trailer?
I paid for my trailer, I paid cash. I paid 12.5.
Okay, so you're talking 12.5 or 95,000. So keep that in mind, the price
course.
difference as well. So
Of
that's all
course.
got to be factored in there. Jeff, we got to hear from you because you're the only guy on here that's actually been in this position.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened with the connection, but I will say this from still maneuvering the truck and the trailer, and now the Zuzu. Customers, they when you show up to the job a lot, like Yee was saying, as long as the job gets done, you're respectful, you do a great job, you're charging them a fair rate. A lot of the people really don't care kind of what you're pulling up in. I'm not saying pull up in a an old truck, bashed out windows, but a lot of people, if you're coming to do a good job, but I will say this, why wouldn't we want to look the best, right? So why wouldn't we want to look like the Got Junks or the Lugaways or some of the big companies? Why would we not want to emulate, some of these companies out there that are successful, that are doing millions of dollars, that have the Zuzus for a reason, because they
Amen.
look the best. When you look the
Well-
best, you can charge accordingly. And it's
Exactly.
easier to scale. You can put, for instance, my wife was on the truck today. I threw in with the crew, Big Roo, Yee Yee, seen her out at the thing. She could hop on that thing with no training and go.
And it's love when we see each other. It's
The
nothing
truck
but a
and the
blessing
trailer,
when
you
I
can't do that. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
and think about this. If Mr. Yee Yee and Paul pulled up to the same house, this $5-10 million house, who do you think they would actually choose?
I don't know, because that's a little different on your sales pitch, on
Well,
how you
yeah,
on how you
but
swing that bat.
when they're
If you don't
when
if
they're
you don't
looking,
say
You know what I
nothing,
mean?
if you
yeah,
say
when you're
nothing and just
looking.
pull up.
But if I'm living in a $10 million house and I'm calling a junk removal to come out there, I'm gonna call that guy with really badass branding, nice Zuzu dump truck.
Some of the rich
I'm
people
not
are the
gonna.
most cheapest people, though.
No, but Mr. Yee,
Yes,
you gotta
Amen,
you're
listen.
right.
dude.
Mr. Yee,
Amen.
you gotta
Yeah,
listen to him
that's
on this,
true.
bro. Because
I'm
I'm
just
that guy, brother, that was the one that I'm only gonna Mr. Official. I'm not having nobody in a trailer that
Of
looks like a
course, I'm the
compact that
same way.
around my house.
It's the same thing.
I'm the same
I
way.
worked in the Atlanta area, and they weren't calling the guy with the dump trailer. It doesn't matter how nice the dump trailer is or the pickup that's pulling it. They wanted the guys in the nice branded truck that looks professional. They are perceived as professionals, not some solo operator thing. It's about trust, and they're going to trust the brand more than
Yeah.
anything. And
And I
it's
think
just
that
the way it is. But that's most people are not living in $10 million houses or $5
I
million
think that
houses or whatever.
piggybacks
So
off
they'll.
of the topic.
Somebody's got some background going on. Who's
Now it's probably me.
Oh shit. Okay.
I think
Jeff.
that piggybacks off of kind of what we were talking about, like how do people when we show up, the contractor kind of thing. I think it kind of goes hand in hand with that. As far as, don't get me wrong, I love the truck and the trailer. You can get it done just as good as any setup, but I think it builds that level of trust, like how you were saying, Paul. When you used to be a contractor, they'd kind of look at you. I think it kind of eases that first exchange when you pull up and you got your uniform, state of the art truck, and they go, "Oh wow!" It kind of makes them feel better. Like, okay, hey, you know what I mean? I think it kind of goes hand in
Let
hand
me
with that.
let me give you a perfect example. So this past week, I went to go do a clean out and everything, and you could tell I did the Kevin Hess half an hour before, made the phone call. I'm on my way there. Can I get you a drink or something? Also, just want to remind you, I'm licensed and insured. I could go anywhere in the house and all. And like when I said that, she's like, "Oh no, I have everything on the side of the house." It was like very concerned and kind of like nervous with me coming in the house or saying anything like that. Now, when we rolled up there and it's me, my girl, and Chanel getting out, all of a sudden it just changed completely. Now this lady's like, bringing us inside the house. She's like, I'm thinking I got other junk. Can you go underneath there? I felt her just relax when she seen us. The threat was gone. Where if I would have maybe just showed up by myself in like a trailer, I think she still would have been on guard. And I don't think I would have been allowed in the house to go get that other stuff. So that is something that I just experienced in the last week,
I would say that your muscles may play a factor in that, dude. Like,
Yeah,
as someone,
and you
I did door to door for years, bro. I am like the least threatening white guy on the planet. I'm 5'9", 160 pounds, soaking wet. So like, they were like old people who would invite me in for dinner when I would knock doors. They'd be like, "Oh, why don't you come in?" But no. So I would say to all of this stuff that it's all about your own ability to someone mentioned value. Okay, so you got to show value. Okay, and to everyone's point, I do think emulating 1-800-GOT-JUNK has a lot of merit, and you know what I mean. You want to look like the big guy, but I think I can do about 80%. It's only
we're chopping up like crazy, Adam, right now.
20% of the cost because my equipment doesn't cost as much. I don't have to pay anything for advertising. I don't have any of that other stuff. And that conveys to the customer that their price is going to be less. But then they see my 5-star rating and all the reviews, and they immediately, they know that they're in good hands when I come out. So it's not even like my equipment does not play a factor in their decision.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the thing too. It's also good. You can perceive that value before you ever set foot on site. During doing a welcome call, and like you were talking about, Paul, doing that call ahead of time, and start, establishing that value ahead of time. It doesn't matter what you show up in. They've already trusted you. They've already got to know you. You started building rapport with them, and they're feeling that trust already, and they feel like they know you. So when you show up, it doesn't matter if you're in a beat up pickup truck and a utility trailer that's, full of, wood on the side and bungee cords everywhere, they already see the value in you because you established that beforehand. So that's why that welcome call when they first book, and that call ahead when you're on the way out there, is really important, because you're able to start establishing that value beforehand. So then the perception, it doesn't matter if but like you said, they'll trust you if they see that Isuzu pickup truck, but you can establish that value ahead of time, and you already have that perception of trust.
I also think you shouldn't be relying on a dump truck to present the value. And the one thing that I liked that you said, Paul, was like, do we go 10,000 or 95,000? Like, I've been looking for a dump truck. I'm not paying $50,000 for a dump truck. Sorry, it's just not. It doesn't really financially make sense to me. If you can handle it, sure, but like, you don't want to emulate 1-800-JUNK when you're in your first year or your second year, or maybe even your third year, if you can't afford it or you haven't grown into that position. And I'll probably say I have one of the higher prices for a standard load. Our trailer 17 cubic yards, and it's $935. And I regularly, because of the way that we pack it, get $1,200 to $1,300 out of a trailer. And I don't have any branding on my stuff anywhere. So it really does come down to how you present to customers, your lead nurturing process. Like, if you're getting leads straight from Google and they don't have any time to be nurtured, you're going to win if you have a dump truck, for sure, hands down.
And speaking on that, Jeff, how long were you in a truck and trailer for until you got to that level with a dump truck? And do you think the truck and trailer helped you to get that?
Absolutely. 4 years. Like I said, I'm still actively using the truck and the trailer. I love that thing. What Hayden says, absolutely. You can still, there's other things that you can do to present yourself and still bring the value. It's just one of those things. I think, like how you're saying, we're just leveling up as we go, right? But I think the goal should always be to try to, in a sense, fake it till we make it. Like, so, you just hit certain different levels, as you go. And that truck and the trailer was able to get me to another level. And then now that I'm on this level, and then I think you just kind of, enjoy the journey and just try to keep climbing. And absolutely.
I think that as we all speak to each other and we all hear each other the way we talk, and what's going to really get you the job is the chemistry you have with the client and how professional you are. As soon as you answer that phone, a client's going to know right there and then you are that guy. So that's a lot of my jobs are won just because of the way I talk to my clients. 80% is I'm just listening at first. And that's just it. Then I come in with the wham, you know what I mean? I don't even give prices over the phone. So a lot of times I have to listen and deal with so many other things that people give prices over the phone, this, that. By the time I'm done, I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I'm gonna get this job. But it's all on how you communicate and interact with the client. Then when you show up, they just feel it. And now, they're just, I'm that guy.
You hit them with that Wambino Yee Yee?
With that Kimball slice price.
Let me catch up in the chat a little. We got Bean says, yes, I do drive a truck and trailer and a Zuzu, so on both sides. My truck and trailer really is sexy, and I get a ton of jobs from it. I prefer it for marketing. The Zuzu I prefer for working. Yeah, so that's the other thing is, does the Zuzu make it a better work experience for yourself and your workers, or it really doesn't matter? And like, what makes it better if that is your answer? Is it the driving? Is it the liability?
Obviously, it's actually safety. Just because it's easier to train somebody on driving that Isuzu, because they're super easy to drive. Anybody can, if you can know how to drive a car, you can drive one of those. But backing a trailer when you're scaling up and you're actually have teammates that you're bringing in, trying to train them on that is a lot harder. You have to find somebody who's experienced in that. Whereas training them to drive that Isuzu is going to be so much easier. And I got to see Bean's Isuzu. I'm sorry, Paul, your truck is sexy, but hers is fucking sexy. She's got a bad ass. She's got one of the baddest wraps I've seen. Oh my God. Bean has the sexiest truck out there right now.
Oh, Jeff is like, hey, oh,
hey. I'm like, hey. Drop the link in the chat. I want to see it.
Yo, you know what we're gonna do on October 24th and 25th? We're gonna have the big truck expo show out front. Everybody bring your trucks. We're gonna have the big show outside. Let's really do it up, man. Let's do it up.
I
Bring
don't
all the
know,
wraps.
man. I might bring out that Corvette, man, and really let them know, you know,
Bro, it's
this
gotta
how
be
I'm.
wrapped with no
This
limit
how I'm.
rolling on
You
it,
know,
bro.
Yeah, wrap
this,
it, boy, wrap it.
Nah, man. This how I'm really living. Because if I wanted to, I could have 2 dump trucks, but I don't.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's just how I'm. That's just how I'm living. But you know,
I wanna show you a quick picture.
I do drive a $70,000 truck though. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I'm heated. Or don't get me. And Jeff see my truck. I get that thing dirty. I don't even care. It's a camel. It's a workhorse. It's a donkey.
Yeah,
Yeehaw,
donkey.
yeehaw. You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, people think I'm crazy, man. All my neighbors, they see me out all the time washing the dump truck. Like I'm out there once a week making sure that shit's shining. Every time Matt sees me, Matt Vick, and yeah, bro, it's not even dirty. You got to get this thing dirty.
I see Jeff washing his truck too. Jeff's washing that bad boy up, keeping it crispy clean over there.
We got it, huh? We got
You know what I
it.
mean?
I want to show you guys a little what's going on. Can you see this?
Man, what is that? A Metro? I can't even see that.
Can you see what's going on in that picture right there? You see that car in there?
No, we can't see it. Can you put it on the screen?
Yeah, let me see if I can change the view. So I got
Maybe
the
it's
car.
on
The
screen.
car's getting wrapped. Got joining.
Oh,
the
you're
crew.
getting you're getting the BMW wrapped?
All of them are getting wrapped right now, bro.
Whoa.
You know me, man. I get extreme here, bro.
Yeah, that's
Hey, he's
whoa, there you
diving
go.
full on in, right off, right? Or no, because it's personal vehicle. Or is it
Yeah,
right
they're
off?
right offs, bro. And as soon as you get it wrapped, bro, you got to go commercial insurance, man. That's the only thing with it, bro. You know, because you don't want to find out the hard way. You know.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. You know what I mean? Let them know every time I pull out.
You got Pat Balance designing that for you?
Yeah, Pat. Actually, no, not on the car. The trucks, Pat did everything on the car. Me and my the installer, he had a vision, and it's gonna be different. It's not the normal branding that goes with my colors, but you guys, it's gonna stick out, man. This is gonna be a neck breaker, so to say.
So Paul, you're getting deep into the game. You're gonna be here for a while now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anything I get into, man, I go official.
Let me tell you that right now. You're hooked.
He's all in. Chips, he's pushed in all in.
All in, brother. I'm living it, man. I'm living it.
You're getting knee deep where you can't even think about nothing else, and it's just like, whoa.
Oh, that's it, bro. Since I started, man, every second of the day. I gotta say this though. Right now, man, it is the toughest time for me right now, is just because my other business, the marijuana, we just had a crop and a big harvest on 2 of my properties. So I got like a small village there, and I'm trying to like maintain both. I got to be able to pop in over there, make sure everything's going smooth and all, and then still run the junk removal. And this was like the first test for me, man, because I haven't had a harvest since then. And yeah,
so you're saying you need trimmers? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, dude, nah, man.
That's a beautiful problem to have, though.
10 years in, bro. You got a crew, bro. We got a crew for real.
Yeah. You got the guys up there. You got the crew up there.
Don't let Yee anywhere near that harvest.
We got these ladies that come from all over, and they come in for.
Are they like topless or something? Because you got to trust them.
Hey, I don't know what goes on at the property, bro. I'm married and all that. Whatever goes on the property stays on the property, eh?
We're gonna have to visit that property. I'm gonna need a tour.
Anytime, man.
I'm gonna need the tour, and
I could bring out there. I would bring out there for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the tour, and you know what I mean. Maybe tell my wife I might have to come out of retirement. I might come out of retirement. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I love it, man. So I want to get into some more conversation that some other things that I wanted to bring up, and one of them was what me and you were talking about, Mr. Yee, and that's like defining what is the perfect client for junk removal. Like, what is the income level? Like,
the age, the zip codes. What's the perfect range client? What's the conception? The conception is, what's the perfect client for junk removal? Can any of you guys speak on that? Does anybody think they have the answer to that, or just want to put a little input on that in the comments, or my guys right here?
Oh yeah, I think I had it pegged.
Let's hear it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I think you need to pay attention driving before, you know what I'm saying?
So I was gonna say that your best clients probably 45 to 60. They know what they want. and they want their shit gone. Okay, they're not really like that picky. Like, you don't want someone to nitpick you, and you don't want someone that's like super anal retentive about their house. So I don't know. Those are some little tidbits for me. I don't think it's necessarily male or female, because I've had plenty of dudes who had like an F-250 in their driveway when I pulled up, and then they paid me a bunch of money to take their shit. So sex doesn't really matter, but I think 45 to 60 is your sweet spot in age.
And what
So
about like income level? Is this like only strictly for the luxury, for the upper class, upper middle class?
low income areas.
No, absolutely not. I
How
feel
do you
like
feel about that, Jeff? Because we're out here in that 707, and we
I
get into
feel
some
like
areas where it's like, whoa.
I feel absolutely not. I will say, like Yee Yee said earlier, some of the people that live in the nicest neighborhoods are sweating you on price and nickel and diming you. I've been in some rough areas, rough neighborhoods where the places are a mess and it doesn't look so nice, and they pay great. So I wouldn't say, oh man, I'm trying to target, the $1 million houses. Yes, often, that could be nice. It's probably right there, all tidy in the driveway, versus you go to an area that's kind of rougher income. I mean, lower income, houses, 400,000. But one thing, those houses have a lot of trash, and it all pays the same as far as, so I don't think as far as like shooting for certain neighborhoods, is valuable, because I feel like low income neighborhoods, a lot of trash accumulates, and that's where we come in.
What's your thoughts on that, Peyton? You guys are over in Texas and all, and I think you guys get, the extreme wealthy, and then you also got the lower income.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that we don't have a lot of wealthy homeowners that we service, so I can't really speak to that fact. The ones that we have, they actually have sweated us on price, and I think that's because most of them can't actually afford where they live. That's just the truth. A lot of people that live above their means, So like, what I'll say is that it's typically someone between 45 and 55 years old that live in like a middle class neighborhood, but are doing that on purpose because they are saving to live to the end of their life. You know what I mean? Like, they're investing in their retirement. They have some extra stuff. They get rid of it every summer. Those are the clients that we like to serve. Now, on the commercial side, I find this really interesting because a lot of people don't talk about different commercial sides. We have a dumpster, like a middleman that provides dumpsters all over the nation. But they call us for curbside where dumpsters can't go. They're our favorite client. They're the easiest to work with. They don't sweat us on price. They don't care what we show up in. They just want before and after photos and fair pricing. And that's what we do. Real estate agents, I've got a real estate agent right now with like $3,000 in net 30s that keeps ignoring me. So there's that side of it. And I've actually never had a good real estate like agent around here. So I kind of stay away from them. And then apartment complexes, their vendor credentialing is a pain in the butt. We're working with 2 right now. And, for the people that, you have to get a certificate of insurance for workers' comp, general liability, and auto. And we happen to have 3 different insurances. So they're not on one COI. So then they're a pain in the butt about that. So
Fuck them. Don't
yeah.
even use. Don't even deal with it, because that's the pain in the butt. You know what I mean? Let the next guy deal with that, because you shouldn't have to jump through hula hoops when
Right.
you can go get that next call from someone else and make $500 in 20 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello. And
But I
it's
think
just,
I think that the ideal client is just whichever person's that's not going to give you a hard time, that likes you as a brand. If they relate to your brand and they're like super about what you're doing, that's the perfect client, because they'll pay no matter what. They'll call you back out. And I actually is the most ideal client, is the ones that keep calling you back out.
Refer you out, tell
Refer
their
you
friends,
out.
family.
and
post you
sometimes
on socials.
and sometimes those are low income people too, because they cannot do the job all at one time. So if you can work with them and do their whole garage project by project by project by project. 'Cause I got many clients who reach out to me all the time and say, okay, Yee Yee, I'm ready for another pickup. I'm ready for another pickup. I'm ready for another pickup, because I made it affordable to them. And I said, hey, I know those other guys hit you with this price, and Jeff gave you this price. But you know what I mean? I can we'll do it this way, where we'll start to help you with this project, but piece by piece. And that person refers me to the whole family, puts me all over the Facebook, puts me everywhere, and refers me to their whole neighborhood because she's the one in that neighborhood who everybody knows because she's been there more than 20, 30 years. So that's to me, those are the ideal perfect clients because some of these clients I love that work for us and promote for us and advertise for us.
I
I
will
gotta,
say,
I gotta say this, man, because I kind of live in the middle of like two different counties, and I'm literally at the border of Sonoma County, and then I'm at the other border of Marin County. And if anybody knows Marin County, we call it AKA Money County. It's one of the top richest in the country. So there's a huge difference in the full load price between the two. We're talking $300 per load. I love getting those phone calls from Marin because I know once we pull up there looking official and NPR with the puppy and all us uniformed, they never even like whatever price I say, cool, let's get it done right now. I love that. But one thing that Peyton did say, I think it was a couple weeks ago when we had him on, and he's like, but how many real rich people really have much junk in their house? Usually their houses are spotless and everything. So yes, it is amazing when I get that phone call, and pretty much I know whatever price I say, they're going to respect it and they just want it done. And yes, it's great. But for the majority of the calls, it's not coming from there. But it is when I get them, I love that. You know what I mean? That is
yeah,
amazing. I
I,
just
t-
haven't
I
figured out how to just attract them all the time. And that leads me to my next question. Is there different platforms that reach out to different clients?
I think so because some people just like I got a call the other day from a senior citizen. This person, mom is 108 years old. And I said,
108.
I'm talking about Titanic. That's right. I'm talking about Titanic. I said, did she still have her tickets? Lucky she didn't go. But anyways, you know what I mean? Lucky she missed the port. But it's for her mother. And she's got to be at least 60 something years old, almost 70, who called me. And I could tell over the phone line, but she's like, I'm old school. I still use Yelp. So, it's not a paid Yelp. It's just a regular Yelp account that I have. And she's like, I'm old school. I don't do this. I don't do that. I just do Yelp. So some people just stick to certain platforms. Some people don't like Google. Some people love Nextdoor. Some people love
I've
Facebook.
been I've learned, like, in my opinion, like, like, let's say Thumbtack, that is just the worst. Like, that's like the lowest, of them all. Like the things that I attract on there, I'm like, I'm not even going to do it anymore. I don't
I
even
think
want to.
Thumbtack is blown. I
Straight
think
garbage.
I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of haulers who reach out to me. I think Thumbtack is really touching base in the East Coast. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
You're,
think
you're, you're right when you
I'm
just said that, bro,
I'm just
because
telling you.
the guy Van Gogh, he's over in New York and all them, and the other Forget About It is a Forget About It in New York. They spell it different and all, but
Yeah,
when I click in Forget About It and I look under theirs, everything is Thumbtack. You know
that's
what
what
I
I'm
mean? They're not
saying.
on any
So
of the other platforms.
I know a hauler. I know a hauler. He's watching. Big shout out to my guy. You know what I mean? Big shout out to my guy JP. I'm telling you right now, he's killing it on Thumbtack. But he's in the East Coast, and I'm just telling you right now, he's killing it. I can't tell you his area, but he's Thumbtack is definitely doing him right.
I
Let
want
me
to push
Yeah,
back
Peter.
before we move forward. Just on the apartment complexes, I know they're a pain in the butt, but if you talk to the managers of the property, at least here in Austin, a lot of the properties are owned by the same places, right? And that credentialing process is the same. So once you unlock one, you unlock all. And one thing people need to know about trying to go get those contracts, if you ask them what their monthly budget is for bulk pickup, they will tell you, which means, if you acquire one and you can do a $700 pickup every month of the year, now you've got how much money? And now you multiply that by multiple. So don't sleep on those. Take it with a grain of salt. You guys walk yourself through your process. And then I was going to say, Paul, to challenge on the platforms. If you guys are putting any effort into any platform, you should be putting them into all platforms. Find the one that you're really good at, your one lead source that is never hit or miss. It's always hit. And then learn to grow into all the different ones because, like you said, like some people are old school and they like Yelp. But I've also had 60 and 70-year-old people find me on Instagram. And I didn't think before I started Instagram, I didn't think 60-year-olds were on Instagram, but they are, and their kids are.
Well, the new 60-year-olds are the 40s or 30s now. Trust me.
Right,
There's
right,
the new 60-year-olds are a lot younger than what they seem to be.
right.
You know what I'm trying to tell you? I'm just
Pey-
they're more
Peyton,
hipper now.
Peyton, what platforms are you guys? You know, you're saying you're doing them all.
Mhm.
Where are you finding the success, and is it different ways of marketing on them?
Yeah, there definitely is different ways. So we post across all platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Yelp, Google My Business. We just got a Google Ads guy. We have SEO running. We have every funnel that you can think of. We have. Okay.
And Thumbtack and Nextdoor.
We've done Thumbtack and we do Nextdoor. I use a strategy on Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor for free customers, so I get free leads from that. And then everything else is paid except for like Yelp.
I want to throw in there, man, with Nextdoor for everybody. I found, like, you know, I'm not paying no ads or anything. I originally was trying to do, like, it was like $4.95 a day and all. I found it's just like Facebook. If you just post on a regular there, it's people start to get to know you. And I can't tell you how many jobs I get on there. And just from, like, you know, putting up a picture of me supporting another business and tagging that business in town. And then, you know, like a funny picture of like me making a video at the dump with a scarecrow or something. And I can't tell you how many people are hitting me up, and they feel like they trust you already. They already know you. They want to be part of your life and all. And so Nextdoor, I've been finding a lot of great leads, and it's not paying any marketing or anything. It's actually just posting like every day and letting people know you in the neighborhood.
You don't have to post either. Like, you guys can headhunt cold leads on Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor. Just anybody that's struggling with work, just start looking for people trying to get rid of stuff for free. Message them, let them know what you do, tell them you'd be happy to serve their family. I promise you, if you guys are anyone on the feed that's struggling to find work, that'll be the best way to go about that.
Yeah, I agree with the JT Junk Solutions as far as, like, really you should be trying them all, especially if it's free. You know what I mean? So post as much. I feel like over time you will start to see, you know, where kind of the quality kind of comes from. Every area is
But
different, right?
when I say post all the time, are you guys posting on Thumbtack? Are you, like, because there's nothing. What are you posting other than paying? I think you could put up the pictures.
I would say for me, Thumbtack it was one of those things I tried and I ruled out. I just didn't like the way they worked. I didn't like the way how they charged. I felt like there was a lot better if you wanted to spend money. In my experience, in my area, there was a lot better ways, you know, or a lot better socials or avenues to spend money than Thumbtack. But to piggyback
Jeff, what's
off,
your main bread and butter in your area right now?
I would have to say probably, man, Google. I would say Google. I would say Google. It's the number one search engine.
Where are you ranked on Google, and do you have an SEO guy? Did you do your own SEO?
If you go type we have 2 GMBs. If you type in, hey, junk removal near me, we pop up number 1. I do have a guy who runs my ads. Agency.
Hey, hold on. We got to back up here. Why do you have 2 GMBs? What does that do?
So basically, you know, we're in Solano County. If
so I think Jeff came from somewhere, a Pacific area he was first started at, then came to the area he's in at. So he kept with that address. Am I correct, Jeff?
Absolutely.
How far is the address from the Solano?
It's 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes in the same.
All right, hold on, guys. So this is my question for you and any of the SEO guys in here, because you might be stepping on your own dick with that, bro. It's because you're confusing Google now with the different locations. So we got to ask the guys.
I don't know about that, because
no, not necessarily, Paul. When they're in that city, so the way Google works is, so I have them in 2 different cities. So when you go on Google and you're in that city, say you're 2 cities over and you type junk removal near me, my GMB in that city is going to pop up number 1. Now, when they're 2 cities over in that other city and they say junk removal near me, my other GMB is going to pop up because it's rated high. So you know what I mean? It's not getting confused. It's just like a place has 2 different storefronts.
No, I get the reason what you're saying behind it. It's just I talked with a couple of the SEO guys and they were discouraging from doing that unless you have like actual 2 different locations that are a certain amount of distance away from each other. They were telling me.
So Jeff, you're saying that you do have someone running your Google ads.
Yes, currently I have them
And
turned off right now, but
mhm.
I do have a guy professionally. I've learned on my own. I've tried to go in there and do the whole thing, and I felt like my money just wasn't going as far as I just said, hold on, you know what? Let me. That's not my expertise. Let me pay somebody who that's what they make a living on. That is their language. I pick up junk and deal with customers. That's my expertise. So for me to go in there, I felt like I was wasting money. Now it took me some time to get to that point, but yeah, absolutely. If you want to run ads on Google, I highly recommend you pay somebody. Absolutely.
My experience with SEO is a lot of them are full of shit. I can't find someone to give me straight answers on what SEO is supposed to look like. I
I
think it's
mean,
kind of like our community where like you ask one person and their experience is one thing and you ask another one and it's different. I um I I haven't
So
seen a lot
Peyton, is
come
there
out of SEO.
anybody? Is there anybody that, in your eyes, that knows SEO and junk removal, like out of all the people you've looked into and heard?
I mean, Matt Fitch does SEO and he does ours. He's been doing in the industry for a decade. And I mean, we've seen progress in our platform, but I don't think I'm educated enough on SEO to really understand it. So I've been trying to do my own research to learn what I'm supposed to be looking for. I actually have a meeting tomorrow to meet just to consult with someone else to figure out like, is this
So,
working like it is or
but
not?
but you are using Matt Fitch to run your SEO right now.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Junklets Pro is running
Okay.
my SEO.
So
guys,
that so hang on. So that might be helping you because you're the guy with Instagram. So maybe that's one of the reasons why you're ranking so high on Instagram because maybe Matt Fitch is tweaking it.
That's not really how that works, but
Okay. I'm just
guys,
saying. I'm just
sorry.
saying.
Yeah.
I'll say this. One more thing. I'll say this. I have never paid for SEO on Google or anything like that. I've just never got behind it or understood it. And when you type in my business's name or my company's name, I'm number one on the list. So I don't understand how SEO works, and it's been like that for years, two plus years. Now, maybe the reviews and people visiting the website organically boost me and posting on there and photos, uploading them, but I've never paid an SEO guy to get me ranked higher. I don't know if I just got lucky, but I've never paid SEO a day in my life. You can go in those current cities and type in my name, and I will pop up number one organically.
What did you
That's
pay
all.
for your websites and the development of them?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
What did you pay for them, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I think 4 years ago, which I probably should get a revamp. I really am not the happiest. I think I paid $3,700 for my website to get built, and
So
it
I
actually was actually the guy who's coming to JunkCon, Blake Shorts or Blake
Ah,
No,
yeah,
no. You mean the Junk
Junk
Expo?
Expo,
Junk
October
Junk
24th
Expo.
and
Expo. You
I'm
mean
25th.
sorry,
Junk
guys.
Expo?
Junk Expo.
Don't be
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Be careful.
Put him in
Yeah.
the bathroom. You
Yeah,
can't
put
make a
him in a. You
mistake
just
like that.
hey, turn him
Hey,
off. He's done. He's done with the show today. He's done with the show today. There you
we're
go. Get
sorry,
out of
Matt
here.
and JoJo. He didn't
You know what I
mean no
mean? There you
disrespect
go.
on that.
Oh, that was bad, guys. That was
We're
bad.
gonna you know what I'm talking about. You know
Hey,
that's up.
forgive me. Forgive me.
But
You know what I mean?
I will say that I know for a fact that SEO is very based on your website and the content that's in the website. So you probably paid a pretty penny to get that taken care of right off the bat, which has helped you rank in the future. And I've kind of slowly been doing that because we always like for having the truck and trailer, we try to just like grow into the next thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not paying a lot for my SEO services, and I didn't pay a lot to get the website made up. So that's probably
Mm-hmm.
why we're not super high ranked yet.
So
That's
that's
what
what.
I've been
Well,
told.
Peyton, how long have you been doing the SEO with Matt for now?
It's less than 90 days. I think we're coming up on
Oh,
90 days.
so you won't
Okay.
even. You probably won't even see the full bloom of it yet
Hold on,
until.
Right.
hold on.
Yeah.
We want to find out what where you started when you first. Where were you ranked on Google when you first started, and like where did you move to since then?
I don't even think Google knew JT Junk Solutions existed.
Okay.
But we've gone
So
up. We're
do
on
you
the first page.
do you ever because they have all those sites where it actually shows your ranking and your authority on and all. Do you get that, or do you track that at all?
Yeah, I mean, we have our analytics. I mean, our foot traffic's gone up, our rankings have gone up. One of the things is we're not in the map pack, which I think affects us pretty drastically. and we're working towards those things. We don't have a physical location. Where I started the LLC is different than where I live now, so it's kind of a little bit of a mess. But we've gone up, and I think that within 6 months, maybe 8 months, we would see more organic
It's long term.
conversions.
It's long
Yes,
term.
it's
Yeah,
long
it's a
term.
It's
long
long
game
term.
when it comes to SEO. You know what I and the thing with SEO too is something that has to be consistent, because I've got mine up to rank number 2 and I slacked off. And I looked it up the other day, I dropped back down to number 5. And so it's something that has to be very consistent. Yeah, I learned a lot about SEO from people like Matt Fitch. Louis Vanderwalt taught me a lot. He's got some great blogs on there. You know, he holds my hand and walked me through a lot of really good ideas. So I was able to rank really, really good. But it is a long game and you have to be consistent, because like I said, I slacked off for a month and it dropped. So it's something you have to be dedicated to do. And if you have somebody to do it for you, great. You can put the money in, but it's something just like it, you know, with your um, social media, you have to be consistent with it. It's
the
otherwise
more
you're going to start dropping.
the more effort you put into whatever you want to learn, you master it. So that's just
Yeah.
the same way you learn how to upload photos onto your Google My Business is the same way that you need to learn how to master your website with SEO and put the
Yeah.
right keywords in there. But it doesn't happen overnight, because it's like,
No.
it's a jigsaw puzzle. And,
Yeah.
a lot of us think that there's the misconception in this business where a lot of people think that they could just jump into this business and, yes, I got the vehicle, I got the truck, or I got the trailer, or whatever it is, but you got no kind of SEO, no type of key, you got nothing going on. So you're just like, you're kind of getting lucky with those jobs on Nextdoor,
Hey,
Facebook.
Ricardo would beg to differ. He gets them all from YouTube, bro.
Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion,
Well, I'll
No,
tell you
you
what.
don't need anything but YouTube.
Yeah, Lewis built my website, and it was probably about 10, 15 pages originally.
Mhm.
I started building it myself, and it's up
Yes,
to like
yes.
80, 90 pages right now.
That's it.
And that helps. The more you do it, you make sure you get those pages are indexed is really, really important.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and then backlinks. There's just a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
people don't
I,
realize
I
that.
want to
and
I want to read this out to you guys. This was from ChatGPT.
Julio!
I just put it in there, asking the question about 2 GMBs, and it says it can help you if each
No
location
red
is
cup today.
legitimate and staffed, even if one is by appointment only. Then the second one, they serve distinct service areas, especially if you're targeting different towns or zip codes. 3, both are verified with unique addresses and phone numbers. 4, you want to dominate more of the map pack. 5, okay, it can hurt you if Google suspects spam or duplicate listings. They share the same phone number, categories, or website without clear differentiation. One location is a virtual office or PO box. So that's pretty much what it's saying. And then it says the conclusion: junk removal is a service area business. So one strong GMB with a wide service radius can rank very well, especially with consistent reviews, posts, and local backlinks. If you do open a second GMB, make it clearly distinct. Different business name variation. So, for instance, forget about it. Junk removal, North Bay. Different phone, ideally a staff space, even part time.
Some
So,
of some of the guys in my area who say they have different GMBs, there's a little tweaks to them where they're different.
Yeah,
yes.
there's a
They
guy
may
in my
not say that.
location called Joseph Junk Removal. They have
Joseph?
about 8 GMBs. They only have one location. They invited me into one of their locations to oversee one of their management meetings, but they look like they're a huge company. Like I talked about perception before, they look like a huge company. They have 8 GMBs in different major cities around Atlanta, and it's probably, I mean, integrity wise, probably not the best, but I don't know how they're pulling it off. I probably wouldn't do that. But they're pulling it off somehow and haven't gotten caught.
Well,
But it makes
there's
them look like they have 8 different locations in the Atlanta area.
well, I think that if you're well established and you have so many reviews and your phone is ringing, why would you risk it? There's someone right now who we're looking at called the Julio. You know what I mean? And a business he works for, they have one They have one, but they rank high, and they're getting it. And I don't think they would risk it. Probably getting another
Yeah. No,
GMB
I
because you have
wouldn't
too much to
suggest
I'm
risk.
just
doing it.
letting you guys know, man. I heard Forget About It has just opened up like 10 other locations, like all over the Bay Area, bro. And I think they're gonna be launching tomorrow morning.
Is that laundromats or is that massage parlors?
You guys got me going crazy. I'm like, oh my god, I got to start opening up in Marin. I got to start getting office over there.
I'm gonna go down the street and open one up. I'm
There
gonna
you
go.
go.
I'm gonna go down the street and open one up. I've been there with the cross addresses with GMB, and I've been suspended. I've been unverified because I did that, and then I had to go through all the process of getting my my
How
old
long does that
location.
process take, bro? I'm hearing like 6-7 months if you just want to change an address.
Well,
Is that true?
well, it can happen faster than that. It's just how you contact Google, and when they are able to contact you back with a Zoom call and a FaceTime call, because they want to see your front license plate of your car, they want to see your work truck, they want to see a PDF with your address on it that you send to clients, and they want to make sure that it's getting a lot more tighter. So
So
they want to.
that's a good topic I want to bring up because a lot of
Hello.
guys that are new that are trying to get into this and all that, they're trying to figure out like, do they have to go get an actual physical address or can they go the virtual way and all? And I've heard both sides. I've heard people say, be careful with the virtual because, like I said, Google might want a verification video or whatever. But what I'm hearing with the virtual, I think you actually get like a meeting place at an actual physical address. So you have an address and you could rent or like, time it where you get this hour in this place. And then what I hear they do is they make it look like a desk at that location. And then Google will verify it so that instead of paying for a physical address, I think it's like $50 a month and you get a virtual address. But I've also heard from some of the SEO guys, be careful with that because they are catching on to that. And Google, if they do find that, you could get suspended and now you got to re-verify and that could be a disaster and all that. So
I wouldn't,
definitely something to think about.
why would you risk it? I wouldn't risk it again. And that's just it. I'm
Yeah, but
only going to risk it if I do get a location and I could put a banner on it.
hold
And
on, bro. But what are we saying risk? I mean, what if you got to pay $1,000 a month just to have an office that you never use?
that's
mean-
what I was in that category. I had to go rent a office, a $500 a month cubicle to say, hey, this is my address. I can't use my physical address anymore. I have to go say, hey, this. And they were like, no, because your company business is not on that building. That is not your
So
address.
you're paying every month. That's you're paying your office space and all.
I'm paying my office space. Yes, it's a write-off, and I'm paying my office space, but I'm also paying that to not have the people on my back because some people cannot run businesses out of their homes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, man. Is the other option
That's
is the
knowledge.
virtual.
That's game right there.
But the other option is going virtual, which instead of paying $500 a month, you could go and pay $50 a month, and that's the other way people are going about it. And all.
Yeah, hey, if it works and you're getting away with it and you're handling it, and now no one knows where you're at, no one knows nothing, and it's funny because you say that, right? So when I was on my whole campaign situation, going to a realtor's office with candy bags and all this type of stuff, I would go to so many virtual locations. And it wasn't even, I was like, oh, I'm going to this realtor's office, not realizing the address was a Starbucks. And I'm like, this is a freaking start. One of them was at a burrito restaurant, at a taqueria. I was like, this is the address on the freaking on the map, taqueria. And I said, well, since I'm here, I'll take a super, no queso, no crema, you know what I mean, asada, you know what I'm talking about. But
I have no idea what you're talking about right now, but I got it.
How can you not have queso and
because I'm one of those guys who
man.
doesn't like cheese or sour cream.
Come on now, that's the best part with the asada.
I love pizza. I love nachos, but just not in my burrito. I like lasagna with no cheese.
Necesito de la queso and crema.
No, nada.
No.
Alan says when my GMB was
Está
randomly
loco, eh?
suspended, I got back my turn. Hold on one second. I got back by turning on edge. Don't know if it was a coincidence, but after weeks of trying, that's what seemed to work. Wow. So his GMB got suspended, and the way that he got it back on was he turned on the edge. That's kind of like saying to Google, yo, I'm sorry, bro. Here's a little envelope now. Put it back on, huh?
Trust me, you're gonna run back and say, damn, I messed up. Please forgive me. Please forgive.
Take my money. Take my money.
Let me have my reviews back. Because remember a few months ago when everybody's reviews were missing, and how crazy everybody went like, because overnight I lost 100 reviews overnight. And I said, whoa. But I didn't have to do anything. I didn't call in. I didn't bug them. I didn't do this. They sent the email saying, hey, we're working on it. And they all came back.
Hell yeah. And Strong says it's a real gray area. We got Matt and JoJo in the house. Says you better be ready to work Saturday and Sunday. No days off.
Is that for the Julio? You better be ready to
definitely
work.
for the Julio over there.
Oh shit! You got the Hefe. He's watching. You better
Hey, Matt and JoJo. Hey, Matt and JoJo. I just talked to Julio. He's moving to Atlanta. He's going to be working with me now. So just thought I'd let you know here. I just thought I'd let you know here. No hard feelings, but he's coming to Atlanta area, and
Julio's like the most. He's like the free agent. Everybody's trying to pick up over here.
Everybody needs a Julio.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So Julio, what's been up, brother? What's been going on, man? Like anything cool happened this week? Any fun jobs? Anything?
Well, today we had like 3 jobs or 4 jobs. But since we sent out some messages, now our calendar is like full the rest of the week. So it's gonna start getting busy, and it's summertime when that happens.
Nice. So what you guys did the SMS blast and all? Is that what you
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice, bro.
Today
things were great.
I think what was that through autopilot SMS?
Yeah, I believe so.
I threw out one about 2 weeks ago, and right away I started getting phone calls and texts. Yeah, that SMS blast through autopilot. Man, I got a bunch of jobs from that.
I think I'm gonna go and do that for next week. I'm gonna set that up. How often do you guys do it? Like,
I've been doing it once, probably once a month now.
Okay.
Just different messages.
You do the whole client book, or is it like
yeah.
Okay.
I did different promotions. It could be around a holiday, for a holiday special, springtime special, different things. You can find different ways to throw out different types of promotions.
And what do you say? Like, you're gonna be in the area, you got a big discount going on this
I would
week?
just say, hey, we got, it's Memorial weekend, and I have if any of my repeat customers, I want to give this special discount, in appreciation for that. So I'm sending out, to you guys special and giving you this special 10% off or $25 off, $50 off, whatever. Just different types of promotions. Hey, springtime's here. You can use the springtime promotion to, get this amount of off. And, I usually give them, either I have 2 different type of promotions. One is a 10% discount or a 25-50 discount. Basically $25 off up to a half a load. Anything a half a load up to a full load, it's a $50 off.
So
I like that one. That's a good one.
Kevin, how are you running your team? Is you got a crew? You got people going with you on your jobs? Well, I think a lot of us know of you, but a lot of us don't know how you get down.
Right now, I am just basically I'm small potatoes right now.
Oh, okay.
I started by things. I got my son's girlfriend, on my team. I'm small scale right now, and I don't really have a whole lot of urge to get too big. I'd like to get to a point where I can get off the truck and have a team that's out there and doing it, because honestly, my back can't take much more. I got 2 bulging discs in my back. I have issues, breathing from scar tissue on my lungs from COVID, just with the cancer recovery. And it's just my body doesn't want to do this anymore. So, I want to get to that point, but, I have my sons helping me out, but they have other things to do. I have one son's a firefighter, one's, works at a tree removal company. So I get them here and there, but I do a lot of the work myself.
There you go. Hands on.
Seven Figure says, this is Russ. He says the text blast work, but if you have a large database and you blast it all at once, you can be buried and upset people. Best doing a rolling amount to not overdo it. Yeah, I could see that, man, especially when you're up and running a couple years. As far as me,
Yeah.
I don't have enough clients to, I think just sending out one to all of them would work. But, like a guy like Russ or, it's been in quite a few years, it could, be a problem. All of a sudden you got 100 jobs locked in, you got to go knock off in the next 2-3 days. Guys, I put the link in the chat over here. Wait, did it didn't go on there, did it? Why didn't it? I put it on there and it's not sharing it. Hold on.
Paul, don't threaten the link. Don't threaten the link. Don't give the, I'm gonna come over there link right now.
Shit, it's not going on it. Do me a favor, Mr. Yee, can you put it in the chat, bro? Because for some reason it's not letting me. It's letting me say everything else, but I can't put the link in there.
If you send it to my phone.
Yeah, I'll send it right now, bro. Here you go.
I mean my office.
There you go.
It's my office.
Right.
iPhone 15 Pro, 1 terabyte. So I'm telling you guys, get 1 terabyte. Don't get the 256 gig, whatever. Get the 1 terabyte. Trust.
Another conversation I wanted to bring up was we seen that Ricky put out a video, I think it was today. He was talking about somebody was hitting him up asking advice about getting a second truck going and more employees. And, the guy was saying that it added a lot more work and he's actually not making any extra money with it and all that. So I just wanted to kind of like discuss that little conversation with you guys, just because, I feel like I'm getting close to that area and all. And, the guy was telling Ricky he gets like 4 to 8 jobs a day. And Ricky was like, oh man, you're not ready to get another truck or employee. You don't need that. You're not getting enough business. So what's your guys' thoughts on that whole topic? And like, when is the proper amount? Like, is there a certain amount of jobs that you're coming in every day that tells you, okay, I'm ready for that second truck? Kevin, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
It's something that you have to really feel out. But yeah, if you're getting 4 to 8, you're probably not ready to add another one. But if you're getting slammed, I see a few people on here talking, bragging about being booked up, 1-2 weeks out, then you're probably ready to scale up, because you're going to lose a lot of those jobs if you're booked up that far out. But Russ will probably tell you, probably the best time to do that. If you're getting, obviously, if you're getting, 10, 12, 15 jobs a day, then yes, it's time to start scaling up. You're going to have to, otherwise you're going to start losing jobs. It's going to start going, you're going to start feeding your competitors. But yeah, get another truck. You're going to probably lose money at first, depending on if you're consistently getting 10, 12, 15 jobs a day, then yes, it's definitely time. But there's other ways around it. You can get a second truck or trailer, but at the same time, you can do part-time help to help you do that. You don't have to get full-time help. Like I said, Russ will probably be able to answer that better. He's gone through
What's
that.
up, Russ?
What's up, Russ?
I have to say, the main reason I came on in here is because I have talked to Kevin back and forth, and I just wanted to personally say, what's up, Kevin? I think you're a great asset to a lot of the newer people in here, especially the people who don't understand how the franchises work, and your knowledge is exceptional when it comes to teaching the new people. And I love your Junk Academy. I think anybody who is new in this and wants somebody with some experience, Kevin is probably one of the better ones in the group, because he may not have owned the company that did 10 million, but he was a very integral part in going to 10 million. So he understands a lot of the same things us as owners and multi-truck 7-figure owners understand. So Kevin, great to finally say hi to you, and I think you do an exceptional job.
Thanks, Russ.
Yeah.
Jay Coben says, should you raise prices before expanding? And Jay, I'm going to answer that one. I think from day one, you should have that mentality of having employees. So, with me on the truck right now, I'm pricing it as of I am sending 2 employees in a truck.
Paul, one of them is a dog.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, I'm going from day one. I'm planning to scale. So I'm putting all those in action from day one.
See, Paul, you're in a different category, because you're just like anybody else who goes into a franchise. It's usually somebody that is they probably own a different businesses. They're businessmen, and they come and they buy into a franchise, whether it be 1-800-GOT-JUNK, College Hunks, whatever. They don't have experience in junk. They come in, they buy this business, this franchise, and they put their money and they're investing money into it. You probably put more effort into actually learning the business than most of these franchise guys. Because I guarantee you there's very few 1-800-GOT-JUNK franchises that are owned by somebody who knows a damn thing about actual junk removal. They come in there, they have other businesses somewhere else they have money, they invest in that business. So you're going in there thinking basically like a franchise owner, and you're looking to grow. You're learning to grow the business. You're looking to expand into other cities, and you're thinking like a franchise owner, but you're doing it at a higher level because you're learning the business from the ground up. You're putting in the work. Number one, you're learning from everybody, every OG out there who's gone from the bottom to the top, and you're learning it at a high rate, at a really high level, like nobody else does. So you're in a totally different category when it comes to something like that. Because you're going in there thinking about getting employees, you're thinking about expanding into other cities, because you're thinking like a businessman who is going into this like I said, it's basically like a franchise. You have
Let
that
me ask you this,
mentality.
Evan. How because you're very familiar with the franchise and all. So the guy that you speak of that's just going to go in and kind of blind and like I'm putting myself in that position now and saying, damn, if I would have put myself in that position, I'd be screwed. Because you don't know everything that goes along. You don't know what they expect. So how does a guy that's just looking to throw money at a business and make money, how would that look? What would he have to do to actually make that successful? Is it getting a general manager and that actually knows the junk business and putting them in charge?
It depends. They might buy into a franchise that has already been existent, whether it's failing, succeeding. They probably will find somebody that's actually knows what they're doing. At least keep the general manager or operations manager, or maybe even the former owner in there for a while to consult as they start to learn the business. And then they'll make changes as needed. They might keep that general manager. When Southwind bought our franchise, they bought out several franchises over the past few. I think they're up to like 30 franchises right now. I'm probably the only manager they ever kept. They always trained people at their headquarters in Kansas City to go and run. They have their own entrepreneur class that they teach. They have these young guys come in, they learn everything about running that business so that they can put them into that business when they start buying new ones. I was probably the only general manager ever in that Southwind history that actually came with the franchise, and they kept.
Well,
Plus,
that says something.
well, I think what it is with Paulie is that I think it's because he has a co-host called the Yee Yee, and that's probably a big factor. Just saying that.
100%. So Russ, talk to me, baby. What's been going on, man, in Junk World over by you? Anything new, exciting? Any fun jobs you got coming up?
Well, I walked away from probably the third biggest job I've ever done. I walked away from a guy. We were supposed to start it on Monday, and I walked away from it on Friday. The guy really fucking shafted me and lied to me, and I don't really work well with people who lie to me. So it was a big 45,000 square foot office clean out. Everybody probably saw the videos I put up of this. There were shipping containers that had to come out of this thing with no loading dock. We had to cut them up. There was 500 office chairs. There was just so much shit in here. And when I walked through on the estimate, the guy said that everything in here is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. He was like, there's only going to be a couple things that we send off to other places, so you can just basically have everything. So when I did the bid, I looked at it. Now, normally I don't take off money for things that are for like resale. But when I walked through this place, I was like, there's at least $75,000 on the back end of this job. So I'm going to take a loss on the clean out in order to get the back end stuff. So I bid the job at like $21,000. and it was going to take us about 4 days. We would have done the whole thing in 4 days with everything that was in there. So we ended up finalizing everything. And then I went by one day. I was like, I just wonder what it looks like inside. And I went by the front door and they had a sign in the front that said huge sale. And I was like, you motherfucker. So I called the guy up and I was like, hey, man, what's going on with this huge sale thing? He's like, oh, yeah, most of the stuff's gone. You don't really have to do any of that stuff. Really, I just need like the shipping containers and there's some other stuff. But, you know, we had a sale and I was like, yeah, I go, and you pocketed all the money. I said, so what you did is you put this big amount of money on the resale end, which you both know I was going to get. You put it out there so I would lower the bid so that you could then turn around and get a PO for probably double what I charged you because it was a $40,000 clean out. And I said, and then you turned around and sold everything out from under me where I was going to make up all the money on the back end. Then you're going to tell me that you want less off because there isn't anything there. And then you're going to keep the difference because you already got the PO approved. And I basically was not happy at this point, and he made one comment that he was like, "Yeah, my sister lives in Rochester, and she did the sale, and she made $8,000, and I'm really glad that she made the money." And I said, Keith, I want you to know you can shove that fucking shipping container up your ass. Go fuck yourself. And I hung up on him, and I walked away from a $21,000 job, and I don't work with people like that. So that's what we were supposed to do on Monday. And then this week, I think so far we're up to like $8,000 in business this week. And we'll write probably 26 to 28,000 this week.
Yeah, I
How do you
saw
get,
pictures and videos of that job. It's some nice shit that was in there.
Dude, I mean, he had office chairs. And when we looked up one of them, they were $329 a piece. And there
That
was
was some
600 of them.
that was some high end shit I've seen.
Yeah.
as well.
And then as he's walking me through, he made some comments like, he was like, oh, the last one I did is the scrap metal guys came in and took everything for free because there was so much scrap metal. And I was like, and I just looked at him and I was like, something ain't right here because most people don't say that. And so yeah, I walked away from that. I do not work with people. I don't care what the dollar amount is because now I got to worry about getting paid. If you're going to tell me it's going to be net 15 and you already fucking lied to me on the front end, now I got to worry about getting paid on the back end. You know what I mean? So it's just, for me, it's just not worth the hassle. I just won't deal with it.
How did that job come about? Like, how did you get it?
So the guy reached out to me. It was a Google ad, and he wanted me to come out and look at it. And one of the things, and Kevin will tell you this about the franchises, is the franchises don't really do like really difficult junk removal jobs. So, and by what I mean by difficult is when I was in Florida and I had to remove carports from ponds that had gators in it. That's not a job that any franchise is going to even attempt to do because of the liability. Not only that, but they're not going to tie up their fucking trucks running around at $1,000 a truck to sit there for 5 days. Plus, they don't want, most of them, Kevin will probably vouch to this too, Got Junk really doesn't like doing a lot of commercial work because they don't like the cash flow issues that happen with it. So usually they don't do a lot of like large office cleanouts around us. Fucking goddamn mosquitoes. So they don't do a lot of large office cleanouts out here because they don't like to do a lot of commercial work because they'd rather have the residential. They can charge more, plus the cash flow is better. So for them, they don't do a lot of those jobs. So I usually get the one-offs, like you have to cut up 28-foot shipping containers and remove them from inside a building with no loading dock. Like those are the jobs that I do. So, yeah. So when he called me, I was like, yeah, I can get those out. And I know he's not going to get any franchise because the Junk King franchise here has one truck. Junk's got 5 people. And they would never tie up an entire week to do one job. They'd lose too much money on the residential side. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on the franchise because like our franchise, we would go after those big accounts. We'd go after the 100 truckload junk jobs. We would go the bigger the better. We actually had a commercial sales rep that went after those larger amounts. We had 19 trucks.
Right.
If we needed to borrow trucks from one of the other franchises because of two Atlanta franchises, we'd take trucks and crews from them if we needed to, but we would actually tackle them. Smaller one like that, they probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and you have the advantage because you have trucks nearby.
Yeah.
Like if any of the guys here tried to do it with one truck and you know, two guys, that they would never be able to do it. It would take them
Yeah.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they would just wouldn't. They I don't care if they did it for half price. They're not going to let them sit in a building for that long. They got to turn it over. But when you have the franchises and you have the equipment and you have the people, then yeah, you can do big jobs like that. But most of them, like here, we only have a 2 truck operation. So they're not even, they wouldn't even attempt it like you would in Atlanta because you have 19 trucks at yours and the other Atlanta franchise probably has 15. So you got 34 trucks if you've got to go and do it for 2 days, you know?
Yeah.
Sarah has a question. She says, does anyone have a cap on the amount they leave out on the net terms? I have a large amount out right now and consider placing on amount cap.
What do you mean? Like a dollar amount or
I
days?
guess I'm thinking it's a dollar amount on what she's got, you know, out
Or is she
there.
talking about time, like 30 days,
How
45
long
days,
until
90
you collect
days?
your payment?
Most nets are net 30 on bigger
Yeah.
jobs. If you don't have the cash flow to float the job, like, you know, if you don't have a bank account that can float the dump fees, the gas and the labor for 30 days, then on bigger jobs, it's not unheard of to ask for a 50% deposit. That way, at least that 50% covers all your costs. You don't lose any money on the job, but then now you just wait for your money. So it's not really
And
tying up the cash flow because all your bills are paid with it.
she's saying for money, for amount of money.
Oh.
Well, that's up to you. That's whatever you can stomach.
And just so everybody knows, Forget About It Junk Removal Service is offering a new service. I see all these people with outstanding bills and all. We do collections as well. We'll split it 50-50 down the line. We'll collect from anybody. You don't got to wait or nothing. I'm
Yeah.
kidding with that.
Thank you for
John
sharing
Tuckall
that.
says,
Thank you.
man, I hate it when they do that. Don't ever bid a job for the junk charge for gold coins, buckets of shit. It don't matter. Gold coins. Okay, gotcha.
Well, I have good connections, and I can tell you that the 4 commercial refrigerators that they told me I was going to be able to keep, I already had sold for $10,000, and they were going to pick them up out of the building. So when you know that you have $10,000 in just 4 items out of the thousands that I was going to take out of here, you will, if you know you're going up against another company and you know the back end is all tax free.
You
I mean, for
gotta
me to
make
make
those moves.
Well, you got to think of it this way, right? So if you're trying to make $10,000 profit, right, and you're a 1 truck operation, you need to sell $15,000 worth of jobs just to make that 10 grand back that I made by selling refrigerators out the back end of the door, right? So, and if you're doing a multi-truck operation, you got to sell another $20,000 or more, 25 grand to get the same 10 grand. So I'm doing way more work selling 25,000. I have to do a $25,000 week to bring home what I would sell for someone to walk in and take refrigerators out. So yeah, I'm 100% on this job. I would have done it. On most jobs I don't, but this one in particular,
Made
yeah.
sense.
I
Sarah
mean, I
says,
had $60,000 sold already.
did you get a deposit on that job?
No. And
No
that's
deposit.
why I was able to back out.
Okay.
And I didn't care about that deposit on that job, and I'll tell you why. Because I know what the back end is going to give me, everything that I put into that job is 100% paid for and then some. So whether the guy defaults on the 21 grand payment or not, I still made money on the job and I didn't lose anything. So you can do that on those jobs and not have to worry about getting a deposit because even if he balked on it, I still made money. You know what I mean? But if you're having a smaller job where it's an office clean out and it's all shit and you got to tear down cubicles and stuff, then yeah, you can get a deposit. And most people will give you 50% because they understand.
Jeff, what was the biggest job that you've got so far in your whole junk career?
Honestly, it was this year, and it was $16,000 800 16.8, and it was a country property, and it was a bit up north. I just called in my buddy who had some dumpsters instead of running both of the trucks back and forth and the fuel. I just budgeted in the 40-yard dumpsters, and I think we had like we 3 or 4 40-yard dumpsters, and then we did a couple runs back and forth with the setups that I got. But that's the biggest one, and it came this year. It was off a referral. I think it was 16 grand. I probably profited about 10 11 grand on it between dump fees and paying everybody, fuel, all that, dumpsters, and it took us 2.5 days.
let me ask you guys, do you guys all have like a dumpster business that you guys work with? Do you guys like have somebody in the area that hooks you up with special prices and that you guys kind of refer all the time?
Oh
I have
yeah,
my own.
I feel like, I mean, I feel like the dumpster business goes. It's so intriguing. I almost want to maybe explore that avenue for the big jobs and not. But I think it's valuable to have like a dumpster connection or a setup. You know.
It's
Russ,
definitely makes it more efficient. I can tell you that.
okay. Mr. Yee, what's your whole stance with do you have a connection with any of the dumpster guys that you work with?
Uh, I have a few dumpster guys that reach out to me that have reached out to me for work and say, "Hey, I see you all over social media. I see you what you're doing. I have 20s or 30s or 40s big boys for you." But again, this is what I'm talking about when you work with each other, that you can make these things happen because I can bring both my trailers. My guy could bring his truck. He could bring his truck. He could bring his trailer. And that right there is damn near 70 yards right there. And
Yep.
that's how you tear apart a job right there. And that's how you save money. But that's just it. It's kind of hard to give money out to circle, and but sometimes it's the best decision is to have a connection with those dumpsters, especially if they could deliver them right when you need them and there's not a wait list, and a guy who could just straight deliver those things to you, and he could pick them up when he say he's going to be there, and he could drop them off when he say he's going to be there, and if he also gives you that right price where it didn't even touch your budget, and he's just like, don't even trip. In this trailer, throw this one in, and that dumpster, throw this one in, that dumpster, throw this one in. But you know, those are, you got to take care of those guys. But those guys are looking for constant work. Those guys aren't looking for like, when you reach out to them every 6, 8 months.
I
That
want
was
to
the,
ask.
that was the first thing that I did when I got in. I realized right away that was a resource that I wanted to have, and I shout out to Christy from
I was
San
gonna
Jose
say you got
Dumpster
Christy
Rentals.
right there. I was gonna
Ex-
say.
You know what I mean? Of course, I had to get her on right away, and we've been in talks. And actually, this week, I'm doing that hot tub job tomorrow. But the guy also wanted to do dumpsters because he's got a bunch of other stuff that he wanted to clear out, and he wasn't looking to pay the big money for the
So,
junk removal.
so you're
So
saying you're buying her business?
no, 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 no. But it's good to have your team build that team from day one with that in mind. Find your little circle where you guys all help each other out. Also, want to shout out to North Bay. We got my man Ignacio in the house, and he's another one that's in my area and all, and we've been helping each other out. And Sonoma Strong's
Nice.
another one. I'm blessed to be in this area with all these great people, and we
That's
all help each other
707.
out.
A
Yeah, it's
707 connection,
I gotta
Ignacio.
say, yo, bro, I think you guys had that effect on things because after we did that show with the 707, that's when Ignacio hit me up, and I think it's starting to connect everybody. Everybody's like, yo, I like having a couple companies that we work together in the area and help each
I,
other
I've
out.
I've also been seeing other haulers on other social media platforms put on how many, I got this many haulers I work with now. I network with my guys and they put them on now, and it's just like, I think we opened the door right there to people, networking with each other and making it happen. And Ignacio could reach out to us, and you know
Shout
what I
out,
mean. You
shout
can
out, Mr. Yee Yee,
all
the
you gotta do is
quarterback.
reach out
Hey,
to us, and we could make something happen because
how do I join this 707? Mine is 770. So I
okay,
mean, I'm
so
close.
Oh, you're
this
close,
is
bro. There
this
you
is
go.
this is how
Hey,
this is how
Okay,
we're
we
gonna
nice.
haven't
do
told
it.
we haven't
This
told him about initiation yet, bro. He's
this
got to
is
go
how
through initiation. We
this
can't
is how
say
we're
that
gonna
on
do
live,
it.
though, bro.
From the Bay to Georgia, it's all about the yay. You know what I'm talking about? And we could make it happen. If we could put wigs on pigs and make it happen, you know what I'm talking about?
Mr. Yee, you scare me a little. You sound like P. Diddy right now, bro. Ain't none of
Whoa,
those
whoa,
baby oil
whoa,
parties
whoa,
coming
whoa,
along with
whoa,
this.
whoa,
Getting the
whoa,
baby
whoa, whoa,
oil.
Hey, I got a
whoa.
question. I got a question, Paul. I want to ask Russ and Kevin, if you don't mind.
Sure, bro.
What is your guys' thoughts on? I know we're all about junk removal, but it does go, and we were just talking about it. It does go hand in hand with junk removal businesses maybe expanding to the dumpster rental. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on that? I just, I kind of want to hear from you two because, you guys are a wealth of
I,
knowledge.
I I would pass that to Russ because he actually does. So
And let me just throw in one quick thing in there. You're in North Cal, brother. Where you are in Solano, where you could get a property and buy a property, that makes sense for you. Where I'm at in my area, to buy a property and all, it might be a little trickier, and I don't know if it's as profitable. But my thoughts are just from the pricing of buying land, and I think that would be a genius move, bro.
So
Russ?
I'll tell you the reasons that I got it. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
So when I started junk removal, I always hated having. I like having a solution to every single piece of bullshit that they come up with. So the biggest one was, the cost, and I was like, well, if I got dumpsters now, when I go and spend, at the time I was doing Google, but I also did TV advertising. And so we would get a lot of calls, and people would be like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that much. I'll just rent a dumpster." And I started to realize how much money I was losing in cost per clicks and advertising when people call me, and I couldn't give them a dumpster. And so then we started picking up bigger jobs, and I was at 2 trucks at the time, and I was like, you know what? I said, let's add dumpster rentals because worst case scenario, I have essentially 5 trucks. When you take a dumpster truck or a roll off and you give it 5 dumpsters, you have 5 trucks because now you can move those dumpsters as you see fit, right? So I looked at it, I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I have 7 trucks to do a big job. So that was kind of my thinking in it. It wasn't like I'm going to get into rentals because I think this is a better way to go. It was more of this was a way for me not to lose advertising spending on customers I couldn't service and then just give that lead to somebody else. So that was the main reason that I started it. And then I bought those in 2020. And then in 2021, COVID happened and everybody was at home. So it started to be now that they didn't want people in their house. So then they wanted rentals. And because we were essential, we could do it. So then that's really when it took off. And then my second roll off truck that I bought basically was my third junk truck. So I was running 3 trucks, but I had the second roll off to do both. The advantage that you have by doing dumpsters and rentals is I don't have to worry about turnaround. The biggest issue that everybody's going to run into when they do big jobs, and anybody who's rented a dumpster and needed it turned over in the same day, realizes it just ceases all production. Because if you are on a job that you are a single truck and trailer and you get a 8 truck job and you order a 40-yard dumpster, you can fill that 40-yard dumpster with 2 people in 5 hours. Now what? Now you're fucking stuck. Now you have to load up your trailer, but now you're at full capacity after 6 hours. You've loaded everything and you can't do anything for the rest of the day. So now you got to postpone jobs from tomorrow, wait for them to do the swap out. You got to sit there with your thumb up your ass and hope that the other guy values your time as much as he does his. And most of those guys do not. So the turnaround time for us is huge. I have 4 trucks here. So I have 2 junk trucks and both my roll-offs. If you see me do a truck that's 8 to 10 trucks, I bring both my roll-offs with 20-yarders. I bring both my junk trucks. The key to doing big jobs is the logistics and how you load things and how you get trucks off and on and turned around. And a lot of times what happens is people will, let's say that you're doing a job and you need a 40-yard dumpster. What typically will happen is everybody goes, let's load the 40 first, and then we'll load our trailer. And you just kick yourself in the dick because you just stopped all production. So what you do is you load your trailer first. As soon as that trailer is full, you send one guy off to the dump. Now everyone loads the 40. Now when the truck comes back, you load that one again. You send that one off again, and then you go back to loading the 40. That
Yeah.
way you always have the one truck running. If you run it like that, you'll save a lot more money, and you can do a 6 to 8 truck job with 4 guys in a day if you can use it that way. But with me, I don't have to worry about it because I don't have to worry about another guy coming and picking my shit up. I put a 40 down or a 20 down, we fill it, it leaves. We put the other 20 down, we fill it, it leaves. Then we do a junk truck, it leaves, and now constantly moving trucks out on the road.
Yeah,
When you're on a
so
big
much.
job and you're looking at trucks sitting there, it just is infuriating because they're not moving
Yeah,
and they
so
got to
much
keep
more.
moving.
But
Right.
Russ, break it down as far as value, man. What does it do, you know, as far as your business and what you have as value? Because in my eyes, man, owning a junk removal company, it doesn't really make sense to go and buy a property, you know, and to have your own yard and all that. Where with the dumpster rentals, it does, and it adds to your value. And now you could have both businesses running from that. You could break it up and sell the separate businesses. You could now sell the property. You have assets as well. So what did it do as far as adding value to your overall business?
Well, I mean, it does about 10 to 12% of our overall revenue. So we probably do about 150 grand on the top end in rentals. But that's not where we excel because I have the ability to use those rentals to do bigger jobs. It allows me to do bigger junk jobs, which have more profit margin, which now gives me higher EBITDA earnings, which then turns around and makes the company more profitable on a resale asset, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But from an equipment standpoint, I'm going to buy. I have 27 dumpsters. I have roughly $80,000 in dumpsters, right? So I have 27 trucks that are going to last me 10 years and have grease as maintenance. So those things will just print money after you get the loans paid off. And now those assets are always going to go up in value because steel is always going to go up in value. So when you look at it on when I'm done with these in 10 years, I scrap them. I'm going to scrap them for what I paid for them. So I have really a no net cost on equipment over the course of 10 years. The dumpster trucks is really where the money is because without those big ass gas guzzling pricks, you don't make any money. But the trucks and everything else, once they're paid off, that'll be the majority of what my equipment costs are. And that'll be um, I mean, you're talking probably $275,000 in equipment just in two trucks and the 10 dumpsters or the 27 dumpsters. So there's a lot of value there, but what it brings me in versatility makes the company more profitable, which is what I'm going to sell it on anyway. Because when a company buys you, they're going to buy the equipment one way or another. They're not buying your business because you have equipment. They can get that anywhere. What they're buying is the management structure and the way that you run the business and the leadership you have in place, the growth that you're doing, and the vision that your employees can go and replicate. No one buys a business to work on the truck. Kevin knows everything he knows about a business, but he wouldn't go buy my company so he could go work on the truck. Kevin would buy the truck because he just says, I know how to manage it. I don't want to operate it because, like he said, his back and everything else. You know what I mean? So Kevin would be the perfect person to buy us. It wouldn't be someone who's buying the truck to get into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Yeah.
but the value on that is really just in the efficiencies that we can do jobs. But
I think
you know,
I think that's the next move, gentlemen, for me here at Strong Sons Junk Removal. That might be really the next move. Right
Now,
on, Russ.
would you buy the property, like the yard or whatever, or would you rent it?
for well, here's the other thing that you can do on this. If you really want to really play the game, if you're going to buy a property, you buy the company in a completely different business name. So you buy it in
Trust.
ABC Main Street LLC, right? Then what you do is because it's a separate entity, you rent that space out to your own company. Okay.
Yep.
So
Mm,
if you buy the building for $1 million and it has no lease, it's worth $1 million. But if I buy the building for $1 million and lease it to my own company, there's someone that has cash flow. Now you go to the bank and say, look, I want to borrow against the cash flow of the business. They're going to give you a loan based on the cash flow. And really, it's you just renting space back to you. So
mm,
you can actually go to the bank and borrow money out of the bank because you put your name on a lease on a
mm,
building that you own.
that's next level right there.
Yeah, you can lease your own building back to another business. It's just a
Hmm.
separate entity. So you can do that anywhere. So the guys that are really in the businesses that are in the ability to buy one of those buildings, all they're going to do is buy the building and then just lease it back to them, and now the real estate becomes more valuable. and that's
And just
more
like
money.
Jamie's saying too, now you have a warehouse where you could do your donations, you could resell things.
Right.
It opens up a lot of other things that necessarily you wouldn't think about. Also,
Right.
a lot less dump runs too. You know what I mean? You could come back to the
Recycle.
yard. Exactly. Have a bin
Well,
for each one.
it depends on the dump runs because most times by the time you're still making the same run. If you separate the cardboard, you're still going to have to run the cardboard out to the fucking shop or out to the dump. The other thing is that you're not, if you're coming back there and you're trying to recycle everything like that, you basically have to have a sorter and you're going to want to dump the truck, have someone go through it and put all the metal over here, all the cardboard over there, you know what I mean, to be the most
Do-
efficient way to
Does
do
it
it.
make sense to do that with the scrap metal? Is it worth it? Because I've heard that it is in some instance. I think Ricky always says that he makes a lot of money with that.
Anybody who is, if you're in junk removal and you tell yourself that you're not going to go scrapping because you don't want to replace a $200 tire, just go to your trailer, open it up, and swing it as hard as you can into your nuts because that's all you're doing is kicking yourself in the nuts. We do $43,000 last year. We did in scrap. Okay. I did not spend $43,000 in tires. Again, go back to what I was saying
So
earlier.
hold on. Are you have that dumpster at your yard then? That's just
Yeah.
for scrap, and every month
Yep.
you're going in recycling and doing that.
We go 3 times a week.
But are you having a
Okay, hold on, hold on,
sorter?
hold on.
Hold on,
Hold on,
Are you
Mickey.
having are you having a sorter separate all the copper, aluminum?
No. So the way that we do our trucks is that we load our trucks a very specific way. We load all of the garbage that we know we're throwing out first. Anything that we're going to either resell, keep, or scrap will go in next. Any TVs will go in last. And what we'll do is on the way back to the shop, we'll drop the TVs off at the e-recycler who's a mile away. We can drop them for free. Then we come back to the shop, we open up the back, we throw all the scrap in our scrap dumpster. We call it Crappy Scrappy. It's the shittiest dumpster I have, and it's literally just for scrap. And then they'll take the stuff and they'll move it into the shop for resale. And then they'll take a full truck and have a quarter left. They'll go on to their next jobs. It's all garbage. So
Now,
there's a very specific way we do it.
do you have a guy that runs each part, that like somebody that just does the resale for you and all that, or a sorter that does all the like sorting everything out? Like, how do
They
you have
sort it
that?
on jobs.
Okay.
There's no reason to bring it back and sort it once. You sort it on a job. So when you're on a job, when we do big jobs, okay, the first things to go is all the garbage. Take all the garbage, as much garbage as we can take. Then we'll take all of the donations and we'll put those in the junk trucks. And then we'll take all the scrap and we'll put the scrap at the end. Then while we're doing the scrap, we'll separate it as copper. And really, we only do copper, brass, aluminum, and batteries, car batteries. We don't really get into like short steel and zinc and lead and, all that shit. We just do it really quick that way. So that's kind of the way we do it.
Steve from Junk On Junk Off says having more trucks works because you could drop off a full truck at Treasure, they could sort it, and then you pick up another one. So I guess
Yes.
he's putting all this stuff that he's going to resell and all that in one truck, and then the garbage in the next truck. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We put it all in. We'll have one of our junk trucks that's donated the donations, and whenever we're on jobs, it's always donations. We're like, yeah, that goes to donation. We can donate that, and we're donating it to the resale shop at our place. But it goes
Yeah.
somewhere. Whether I sell it or Goodwill sells it, someone's going to sell it. They don't give it away. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So that's what we do. And then I have for the resale operation. We had actually started during COVID. I call her my work wife. I worked with her for 15 years as a server at my restaurant, and she was a trainer at the corporate level when they started buying and opening more restaurants. And then COVID happened, and she lost her job. And she came over, and she was like, "Well, let's help resale." And I was like, "All right, cool. Let's list some stuff on eBay." So she started listing stuff on eBay, and then it turned into she wasn't going back, and then she wanted to do our resale shop, and then it turned into Craigslist and Facebook groups and Marketplace, and our resale Facebook group has 5,400 people in it.
So
So every
Russ,
time she puts something up, 5,400 people see it.
so Russ, to summarize up what you said, it can completely, if you're able to make a move like that and add dumpsters and have a place, it can make your operation I mean, so much more efficient on the recycling end, the resell end, and then like what you're saying, of course, on bigger jobs, the turnaround times you're out of there,
Yeah.
so you're able to get to much more. A big job's not going to hold you up because when you, like you said, you pull up with some dumpsters, how you're saying, and kind of, we've done it, but so basically, it'll make your whole operation just so much more
It,
efficient.
it can
Yeah.
also be efficient if you have issues with dumps on the weekend.
Yep.
Having
Oh,
those dumpsters there, it can be a lifesaver.
Yeah.
that's a
'Cause,
good
you know,
point.
You become a
most people have dumps that are closed on the weekends, and
yep.
I
That's
And
think
you
I,
you
that's
I
become
true.
a transfer
Not by
station.
them. These guys are
yeah,
open like 24/7 down there, right? You guys
I
got a
think
crazy dump over
I
there.
think with our situation in Solano County, the 707 is that you know our land is so expensive.
Right.
So even if it's not just buying a piece of land, even if we were to rent a piece of land, it
Right.
is just they want to whack our head off. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just
I
because
see.
I wouldn't mind having a warehouse for myself, just for my junk removal business, because I get so many things and it's kind of like a little getaway from the house that I can go there. The 707 connection can come. We could put a little
Yee,
situation in
Todd,
there. But it's just everything is so damn expensive out here.
Storage
warehouse
is
units.
move,
is is
707 connection warehouse.
yeah. There you go.
There you
Could
Build
go.
be.
it.
Throw it all
Just get
in
one
there.
Or
flex
Figure it in.
space and split it 3 ways.
There you
Just
go.
go get a 2,000 square foot flex space that has an office that you can sell out of and has a place that you can, bring back all your stuff. And just, all right, you get a third, I get a third, I get a third. We'll set up our own little recycling part in here. We'll
Yeah.
do scrap here, there,
I
whatever.
trust me. When I
Make your own
first start,
transfer station. Fuck it. Let's do it.
when when I first started my business, I wanted a warehouse. So I was in the market to rent a warehouse, and I was looking everywhere. But in our area, they just don't become available.
Right.
As soon as they're
That's because
emptied,
all the marijuana guys are buying them up, man.
something like that. You know what I mean? But
well, let me ask you a question: is the rent out there more or less than your Corvette payment?
For me,
The
more.
No, for
For,
Rudy there.
oh,
the Corvette's already paid off.
what do you have? What do you got? A
I'm
C7?
just fucking with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a
Do you still
C8.
have your vet? Do you still have your vet, Russ?
yeah.
Or no?
Oh no. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
so
these guys, with their vets.
I had
Oh.
I had one of the first C8s when they came out, and the
Yeah.
problem with the C8s when they first came out was in the year of or in the months of production that I had, they had a push rod problem, and a lot of them engines were going bad because the push rods were bending, and so I was all right in that aspect because I was like, well, I got 3 years. And then about the second year in, they started seeing a lot of transmissions starting to fail because there's a module inside the transmission that's just completely buried in there. And it's cheaper for them to replace the transmission than to pull that whole thing out. So now I was like, I'm in a spot where the transmissions are going. I'm in a spot where the engine parts were starting to go, and I had 26,000 miles on it. And we looked at it, and I had like $18,000 in equity in it, and I just said, you know what, I'm out of warranty. I don't want to test this thing because I was getting on it, and I was like, I don't want to test this thing. So I actually sold it in October of last year, and just took the $18,000. And coincidentally, the biggest fuck of the whole thing was I sold it. I took the $18,000, and 2 days later, all of the EGRs went off on my big ass 750
Mhm.
truck. 13,000 of that $18,000 went in to fix that truck.
Yeah.
Those
Oh.
EGRs are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and people don't understand. Like when you get into diesels, and everybody's like, "Oh, I want a diesel junk truck," and I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't want a fucking diesel truck. You want gas. Stay the fuck away from diesel as much as you can possibly stay. Especially if you're in California, don't buy a diesel. You're gonna have to get rid of it in 10 years. That state is the most fucking communistic piece of shit state that we have.
Whoa, whoa!
It
Let's
is.
not get carried away, bud.
Hey,
You all know it. You all know it. You sit
Well, I
there and
think
watch that guy.
I think with our emission laws, because I have a diesel,
Yeah.
And with our emission laws and how they put these vehicles out,
Mhm.
the check engine light is always going on. So, I always used to bring it back to the dealership, say, hey, man, what's going on over here? Do I got a lemon law? What's going on? But they're just like, these California emissions,
Yeah.
it's just the fluids just don't mix right. And there's not, it's just, so I would recommend, you know what I mean? If you are not long distance running, I wouldn't even get a diesel. I would get gas.
Bro,
If
we
you're
live in
doing,
California, man. You got to get an electric truck, man. What are you talking about, guys?
Yeah,
Well,
good
Come
luck on
on,
that.
Please
man.
Yeah,
don't.
charge your electric
From
truck up in
Cali.
between blackouts. Go ahead. You're
Paul,
stuck. I'm going to go to work and wait, never mind. I got a 3-day blackout because I don't have enough electricity. We're going to
I just
change
let you
every
know I got
car
a
over to
diesel truck.
electric and fucking not be able to go anywhere. Yeah, you guys have some of the dumbest politicians. We're second best in New York with our dumbass people too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
it is.
it's the diesels suck, man. I mean, and here's something that's fucked up in New York. In New York, they're pushing this, go green, and you gotta all this horse shit, right? And if you delete the diesel emissions on yours, it's a $5,000 fine. They impound your truck. You have to have it
Wow.
redone, everything, and then you have to go like every certain amount of months to have it, go and make sure you didn't fuck it up, right? But it's rumored that the state trucks are all deleted and they don't have to do any of that bullshit. So you're going to tell me I got to have it,
Wow.
but you go and fucking not do it. Like our state's a bunch of fucking communist pricks too. So
Ooh.
fucking hate them.
Shout out Abel, Temecula Valley Junk Pickup in the house.
Man, say it
He'll
right.
be at the Junk
Abel.
Say it right.
Expo.
18K
on,
in diesel
Abel?
repairs over the last 2 months between two trucks,
That's
a
a speaker at the Junk
2020 and a
Expo.
2022.
Now,
Oh,
Abel.
God.
Now,
Oh, you have
Abel.
no clue.
Did you buy those trucks new or were they used or?
I mean, even
Me?
still, bro, a 2020 and a 2022 18K. My
Dude, okay,
Lord.
so I have a 2013. My 750 is a 2013. I bought it with 7,700 miles on it. It was basically brand new. A DPF filter on that thing is $5,000. So if you go in and an EGR valve goes off, that's $5,000. My 2022 right now, I have a check engine light on. I don't even take it in because in New York, even on an inspection, if it's over 8,000 pounds, it's not required to be hooked up to any computer. So I don't have to go through all the emissions and all that bullshit. So we don't even bring them in. Like they just pass the trucks without even bringing them in. So I don't even look at it. But a turbo actuator just went on my 750. The part was $1,700. The brakes are $1,600. A fucking oil change is $700. They take 26 quarts of oil. Like, stay away from diesel.
So
Yeah.
Jeff, is your dump truck diesel or gasoline?
No, I was just getting ready to say that was a big thing of why we got a gasser, Azusa,
Yeah.
because of the horror stories and being in California, along with how kind of Russ was saying all the limitations. And 5 years from now, I would hate to have a diesel, NPR, and something happens where I would have to sell it. So
Yeah.
I went with gas, little less
Even getting
power.
mechanics to work on it is a bitch. That's what I'm
That
hearing.
too, right, Paul? I mean,
Yep.
it's expensive. Something happens, the parts are harder. There's actually a lot less diesel mechanics out there.
They charge
And
more.
A lot
yeah,
more.
they charge
Yep.
a lot
A
more.
lot more.
And
Also,
maintenance is way more. So, you go and do a gas oil change, it's a filter and oil. That's it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
On mine, I've got to do an oil filter. I've got to do the fucking oil. I've got to do water and fuel separators. I've got to do fuel filters. Like it's way more. And I mean, the tires. I had a tire the other day. It fell off the rim. It was $700 for one fucking tire. Like it's
yeah.
the amount of money that these things. It's
Look what
stupid.
Abel just said. We have carb testing every 6 months. Can't have any lights in 2027. That carb testing is required every 4 months.
Which
Yeah.
state?
Cali.
California.
Backwards Cali, man.
Well, enough said.
He's down south.
Well,
He's down SoCal.
Hey, he's SoCal.
has anybody welcomed Todd to the show? The TODD right
Oh,
now.
What's up,
Todd?
everybody?
Ah,
What's
no
up?
Seven
Seven
connection, my brother
connection.
What's
Todd.
up?
You know, he's being real quiet, but the TODD right there, that's one half of the 707 connection, and the 707
One
connection
third, motherfucker.
is
One
in
third.
there.
Come on now. Hey, say it right. Say it right.
Say it right. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my bad. My fractions are
So,
off.
so
You
on
know what
your,
I'm
so
saying?
Yee Yee, on your connection that you have with those other guys and everybody in your area, how do you guys do the scheduling? Because I feel like when you have a big job and you're like, okay, I've got a 15 truck job, and then all of a sudden you're like, I've got to get these three guys. When are you starting? I start Wednesday.
Okay,
Well, I've got
okay,
this job. They've got this job. I'm not going to get there till Thursday. Like, how do you guys work
okay,
three different schedules into one to be able to collaborate on a big job?
okay. So if you guys want to tap in and ask some more questions, you know what I mean? The 707 is in the building and it's the takeover. But on that right there note is that we all have our individual jobs
Mhm.
which feed us, which we
Right.
have to do and go to. So we only reach out to each other when we have a situation when we need help with
Right.
each other. Like, hey, the other day I was man down with one of my trailers. So I called Todd and, hey, Todd, I need you to bring the truck and you know what I mean? Help me out with this. Boom, bam. And that's just like that. If Jeff calls me and says, hey, I need your help, Yee Yee, I'm on the scene, crispy and clean. And it is what it is. I'm not going to charge him, or I got to work around his schedule, or he has to work around my schedule. So basically, that's how that's going. If I'm free, then I say, yeah, I can be there. But if I'm not free, then I can't be there.
So it's like on call. Like you're just like,
It's,
oh shit, I'm in the
yeah.
shit. Can you come
Yeah.
help
It's
me?
I mean,
So the 707 connection is more of a brotherhood. Is a
Yeah.
more of a people coming together and spitting game, having fun, bringing the red cups out, because a lot of times we're in this business, right, and we don't have no friends like that to go to or really to open up to anymore, because it's just we're so tightly, it's hard to trust people these days.
And
Yeah.
then Russ, like like if it's a 10, 15 load job, like you're saying, usually we kind of know, you kind of know when you're starting a big job like that, so it's like, hey, what's your guys' schedule looking like Friday? I just went and did a job walk, 10, 15 loads. You guys want in on a couple loads, this Friday, and then it'll be, oh, I'm booked half the day, or, I'm busy that day, or, yep, let's run it, let's do it. And then, as far as pull up there and just start kind of running them out. But usually it's not like a, hey, tomorrow morning, guys, we're going to do 10 loads. Are you guys available? Because these
Yeah.
guys are going to be
Surprise.
booked up. You know what I mean? They're going
Do
to
you
be
guys,
booked up. So it's kind of like try to give each other a heads up. You know what I mean?
do you
or
guys
like
have
this
like?
Hold on one
morning.
second, guys. We got a couple questions in here in the chat that I want to bring up.
Sorry,
They're asking
Todd.
about trucks. He says Gary says I would buy a used truck in a heartbeat. You can have them checked by an independent shop. And then what would be the best used truck you all would recommend for me starting all over? I am looking and it's crazy. And I believe JT Junk Solutions, they're in the same boat. They're looking for a dump truck as well, and they're having problems finding them. So I think we figured out that like getting a used one, maybe a couple years old, maybe somebody that maybe jumped in too quick, maybe trying to find something like that. But do you guys have anywhere like a site or anywhere that you can find used ones? Russ, have you come across anything that
Com-
you've?
yeah, commercial truck trader is going to be probably the biggest one that you're going to be able to go on. You can go in there and do a search through anything that you're looking for. If you're looking for hook lift trucks, if you're looking for cab overs, if you're looking for, rollback trucks, whatever, they'll have it. And you can go in there and just search Isuzu, NPR, NQR, stuff like that. I would recommend really just the NPR is all you need. We're not really into hauling heavy stuff. Most of our loads, and everybody can vouch for this, is probably 3,000 pounds or less. You're going to spend more for an NQR because they have a heavy duty or rating and they can carry more, but you're never going to use the weight. So there's no point in spending the additional $10,000 to go to an NQR over an NPR. You can do an NPR HD, which will hold a little bit more. And that's really just a chassis that's a little bit stronger, but the box is going to carry the same weight. I mean, the motor's the same motor. So,
What
what you
year
can do
range?
used.
What year range do you think is safe? Like what's the
I'm
oldest?
live, bud. I'm live. I got my mic off.
Okay. All right. What'd you say? What year?
Yeah, what year is like the oldest that you would buy?
It wouldn't necessarily be the age; it'd be the miles on it and where it came from. I wouldn't if it was a junk truck that had 280,000 miles on it and it was a year old, I wouldn't buy it. But if it was 10 years old and had 50,000 miles on it, I'd buy it. So it's really just the use of the truck, not so much the mileage or the year. The one thing I would recommend to everybody, be very cautious when you're buying anything Chevy or Isuzu related between the years of 2015 and 2019. Right now, Chevy has a class action lawsuit that just got passed through federal court. They can actually start to pursue it because they knew that the transmissions in their heavy duty trucks between 15 and 19 were bad. And I know this personally because my 2017 Chevy in Florida, I just replaced the transmission in that. My wife has a 2019 Tahoe that has what they call as a converter stutter. And that basically means the torque converter is going bad and that transmission needs to be replaced. And then I replaced one under warranty on one of my 2019 Isuzus. So I've replaced 3 of them in that year. So just be careful when you're looking at buying them. Do not buy anything Fuso. They stopped manufacturing them in the United States. So in 5 to 10 years, you're not going to be able to get parts for them because they only are required under federal law to keep parts for 10 years. And after that, they don't have to supply parts anymore.
Russ,
So Fuso,
how much are the transmissions when you replace them? And second
6 grand.
question is $6,000. And what is the mileage like? Do not go over this. Like it's got 150,000. You stay away from that. Like what's the deal
No.
with that?
It depends. Again, it depends on the owner. If Kevin is like, hey, you know what, my back blew out, I'm not going to do this anymore. The truck's got 170,000 miles. I have every maintenance record on it. I've done every brake job. I've done all of this stuff, the maintenance and all that. I'll buy the truck. But if I am buying it off somebody on Facebook Marketplace who's like, yeah, I used to do some oil changes. It's got 200,000 miles on it. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not. But you also be mechanically inclined. Yeah, you can go out and have somebody, take it, drive it to a shop and have them look at it. But that requires time on your part. And then they find out it's a turd, and you could have looked at it and realized it was a turd in 2 minutes if you had any type of mechanical abilities.
And anytime you decide to buy one of these big pieces of equipment, do plenty of homework. Do plenty of homework. Maybe do some YouTube research. Maybe you could reach out to one of us. Russ knows a lot about this. You can reach out to Russ. Maybe Kevin. Jeff has one too. Paulie has one. You can reach out to
Yeah.
these guys and get their opinions on what works for them or what they would wish they had on the truck. But also, I think when you're gonna maybe purchase something like this, maybe in the off seasons, like fall, I mean winter, when everything gets slow and people are nervous, they're stopping their business, and because I think when you want to buy a truck or boat or anything, I think it has to be in the winter time. It's the best deals.
Mm-hmm. For
And
sure.
find those
Another
guys, man, that made it
another
too
good-
quick.
Yeah, another good place to find them there's a place called Ritchie Brothers Auction. I think they're based somewhere in Texas, but they do have a few more locations. I think somewhere in northern Florida and maybe the Carolinas. They usually have pretty good deals on a lot of those trucks. I just met a guy recently, one of my customers. He actually bought a mini excavator and a mini skid steer from there, almost brand new for like $5,000 a piece, because he was the only one bidding on it. And had it delivered
in the
and everything.
country, where is the lowest market to buy an NPR? Because I was hearing in Florida they were in the 70s.
Florida.
the new ones.
Florida.
Is this true?
Florida.
Florida, huh?
They have more down there than anywhere else in the country. I'm telling you right now, as God is my witness.
Why is that?
Because every fucking landscaper and their brother has one. They all there's more. I think there's more landscaping companies than humans down there in Florida. Like it is absolutely ridiculous.
Nobody does their own fucking lawns in Florida.
No.
I can tell you that.
No,
Nobody
and no one
does.
does them. And then they have all the HOAs. You've got all the fucking, all the golf courses. You've got all of that, and the shit. I mean, it just grows. Like you cut it, and 2 days later, you got to cut the fucking tree again. It's stupid down there.
It's
Abel
hot.
says, always hire a third-party mechanic to inspect the truck. We have 2 mobile commercial truck mechanics and 3 mobile commercial tire guys. They're vital to have. I agree, Abel. Anytime I go and get a vehicle, I go and get the mechanic to go look it over, and especially the mechanic that you have that works on all your trucks and all. And I think that's the best way and the safest. Yes, it is a pain in the ass. It takes more time. You're going to have to throw them a couple $100, but that couple $100 could save you thousands of dollars over time and all.
I can actually, Abel, I can give you some advice to save money on those mobile tire guys. And same with you, Russ, that you just spend all that money on there. I used to keep a spare rim and tire, a couple of them around, and I had a tool set. It's this really cool torque thing where you can literally, Rudy's wife could probably do it herself. It'll take those lug nuts off like nothing.
Yeah.
And if you have a jack, you have a, one of those, and you have a spare, you can change that tire out on the side of the road for in 15 minutes. I used to do that all the time. And then I take that to my regular tire place, whatever. Saves you a lot on those mobile tires. And there's a place called, if you have a lot of nails and screws and everything, there's a place called Safety Seal. If you look up safetyseal.com, they have some heavy duty tire plugs that will handle even the Isuzu trucks like nothing. It takes a couple minutes, plug a tire, it's good to go. That tire, those things will last the lifetime of the tire. But
the other thing,
those mobile tire mechanics are fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's $250 just to show up, and then it's a tire.
Yeah, they will rape you.
But one thing that all of the guys that have big trucks, even on any of the Isuzus, just so you guys know, you can have all of your tires recapped. As long as the casing is 10 years or under, you don't have to get a new tire. So basically what happens is I blow all 4 tires in the back. I run over a bunch of fucking nails. I blow them all out. I go buy 4 brand new tires. And then what I do is I take my old ones and I send them out to be recapped. So now I have 4 recap tires basically sitting there, and a recap costs about $125 to do it. So if you recap a tire for $125, you have 4 of them sitting. My guy actually keeps them in his warehouse, so I don't even have to store them. But I have 8 of them sitting there right now. So now when I go in, I don't have to worry about them ordering them, and I just sending the casings back. So that's another way that you guys can save on tires, with the Isuzus. The other thing too is you can't run steer tires, recap steers in the front. They have to be drive tires.
Yeah.
But each drive tire is fucking $375, and a steer tire is almost $450. So on those.
Yeah, tires are expensive, and the guys like me with a truck and trailer, we got we got 8 tires.
Yeah,
so on the road. And
back in the day, man, when I used to have this Escalade, and I had 30s on it. I had these custom 30s, and they would spin and all. But every time you would blow out a tire, you had to go in order, and they'd have to make it to order. So it would take like 2 weeks, and it was $1,200 a tire. And you couldn't even change it yourself because the rim weighed like 300-400
or you bent the rim.
Oh, that would be worse. But I'm laughing at your story because I went and got 2 extra rims made, and I had them always ready. This way I wouldn't have to wait no longer.
Yeah.
And then they would just give me a tire guy at the place. He would come with me mobile for the day. And that was his thing for the whole day, was to change my tire. And
I get my tires at the top quality name brand stores. So, every time I get a tire blowout, I get a flat, I just bring my truck and trailer there. They fix it absolutely free. Because that it's that warranty and it's that name quality, maintenance store that you're going to go to.
They do that with NPRs and all,
if you order tires from, I go to Les Schwab. You order any tire from them, it's a lifetime warranty. So as long as it's a nail on the tread side, they can patch it, fix it, do it, and it's absolutely free. Absolutely. I'm there. Sometimes I'm there a few times a month taking nails out.
At least twice a month for me. At least.
So it's
where do you guys pick up the nails? Is it like transfer
the landfill?
Station
No,
the landfill.
The landfill, not the transfer station. The landfill. But don't get
landfills
it twisted.
and scrapyards.
But don't get it twisted. The transfer station also has nails. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So
Like,
how do you like combat it? Like, what is there
it's
any way
part of the
that you
game. It's part of the game. That's why we
Talk
got
it
those.
up.
I'm dumb
We
right now
got
because I haven't experienced that
we
yet.
got
I
those.
don't go to the landfill much though. I do
Yeah,
the
so we
transfer
got those
station.
10 poly tires. We got those 10 poly tires, and I get more nails in my 35s, my ATVs, my open countries. I get more nails in those things than my 10 polys, my commercial tires on my trailers. But I have 8 tires on the road, and it's just like, it's part of the game. It's just like, when your trailer sits a couple days, you come back up, it's a little bit low.
So
And
we kind of we don't. There's no way you're going to get rid of all of them, especially in the
no,
landfill because they're buried. But
yeah,
the way that we do it is when we go to the scrap yard, when we get out of the truck, the first thing we do is we look at the path all the way back to where we got to dump. If there's any
Mhm.
nails, get them the fuck out of the way.
yeah,
And same thing, like when we pull into the landfill or where we dump, we have to pull over to the side with the roll off trucks because they're manual tarped. So we
yeah,
have to pull over and take the tarps off manually. And I get
yeah,
out, and I look, I'm constantly looking. And when
yeah.
I go
Oh
back,
yeah,
I'm walking around the truck, opening up. Like I don't.
yeah.
And the roofers dump there too, so
Well,
no
Abel has
pressure.
Abel has a situation right there where he says most tire shops don't work on 19.5 Suzu rims. That's why I
Yeah.
go to the name brand because
Yeah.
there's no problem. I drop my trailer off, and I can wait sometimes, but then I drop my trailer off, and they call me, say, "Mr.
Wait.
Yee Yee, it's already."
Hold
There
on. So
go.
we can't bring the NPR to a regular tire shop? Like
Not
we
to one of the
Um,
not to one of the hole in the walls. One of
Walmart
those,
ain't gonna have those tires.
yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna have to look up that up ahead of time because
or the
those
guy
are hard to
selling
find.
or the guy
Ah,
selling all the
wow.
used tires on the corner with the taco truck in front of it. You know
Yeah,
what
look
I
up
mean?
truck
Those
tires.
guys ain't got it for you. You're just wasting your time there.
So
Yeah,
what is
truck
that? Just
tires.
like a commercial truck
Yeah,
stop?
Les
Like
Schwab,
that's
American Tires. Man, those are
all
plugs
right.
for
I
them.
gotta go
But
look into this now.
yeah, so
How much
know,
the
Yeah, those
tire is it for the NPRs?
you got to pay to play. So you
Front
might
tires
as
are about $400 in California,
yeah.
probably 5, and
Ours
then
are
rear tires are probably 400.
Mines are about 250 each, but I get 10 poly commercial grades. So those things can hold 5,000 pounds each tire.
Yeah, the
So
same thing with ours. Those
yeah,
19
you see,
fives are all 10 ply, so those aren't a problem.
see,
Matt has a question for Kevin. He says,
Matt.
what's tool you use for your lug nuts?
I can't remember what it's called, Matt. Hit me up later. I'll look it up. But it's just basically this thing that uses torque. It hooks onto one lug nut, and you just crank it like nothing, and it just loosens the lug nuts like easier than a fucking power tool. It's the coolest thing, and you can take it out on the road. I would swap a tire out on the side of the road in like 15 minutes and keep the trucks moving.
Yeah, the only thing that sucks on those is the lug nuts aren't like a normal car. So you have to find
No.
the right size lug nut for it. And
Oh yeah, I mean the tool itself it's like freaking like $200-300.
it's
But
worth
You
it.
know, a lot of
you,
the tire
yeah, it's
places
worth
don't
it.
have it, right?
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
this thing is
it?
so easy. It's mobile. It has a little case. You carry it around. You have a truck down. You have an extra rim and tire ready to go. You just run over there, throw the jack under it, jack it up. Use this tool. It takes a little bit of time because you have to sit there and crank like 100 times.
Right.
But the torque of it takes it off a lot easier than if you're using like a big lug wrench or something.
Yeah, what Steve just said, what I was about to say. He says Matt and JoJo stand behind the truck and watch it back up and look for nails. Yeah, JoJo comes out. I remember her saying that with the broom, and she'll go in and clear it away and make sure.
Mhm.
I got to keep
actually
that in
thought
mind. I
about
don't having. How come you guys go to the landfill more than the transfer station? Is it that you guys don't have transfer stations close, or what's
Speak
the
on
deal?
it, TLDD. Speak on it.
Well, we're out in Vacaville. That's our home dump. So we want to go to the transfer station. We got to drive about 25 minutes towards Vallejo. So that's where the transfer station is at.
If
So if
there's
I'm
no
doing a couple
access,
jobs, there's no access. If I'm doing a couple jobs in Fairfield, Vacaville, and I still got 2 more jobs left for the day, that's just going out of my way, way out of my way.
well, you wouldn't have that problem if you called Mr. Yee Yee.
I called Mr. Yee Yee this morning.
That's a fact because Josh threw me a job this morning. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening. And I salute my guy right there. But the thing is that, we like to go to the landfills in our area, but Solano County is a big county. So, we can be here, we can be there, but we are blessed that we got to have 2 landfills. I mean, a landfill. We actually have 3 because we have
We got
portrayals.
3. Yeah, we got 3 for
We
trail.
got 3 in
Yes.
our area, and but portrayals in Sassoon City is more expensive. Like I think what 140, and they only stay open till 1:30 p.m.
Holy fuck!
Yeah,
$100 per couch.
yeah. See, so that's
See,
why
I
but
got I'm surrounded on one each exit. I got a transfer station on one side, and I got a dump on the other side. So I'm blessed with that. And
But
I think
remember,
the transfer station's actually cheaper.
but we got $10 a ton for concrete. We
Yeah,
got free
bro, your guys'
mattresses.
numbers are
You
killing
know
us.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
no,
got free
we're
mattresses.
165 a ton on regular, and
So
we're up there.
we even have
Holy fuck!
We even have spots out here that you can there's one on the way to the Vacaville where you could throw your rock, dirt, and it's all free too.
All
You
free.
got to find a concrete recycler. Fuck that. That's free.
What is Matt talking about here? He says, Paul, you need some AI summary for these. I just hopped on and got some great information. Now I want to know what else I've missed. What's the AI summary? Is that something, Kevin? Do you know what that is?
A lot of the Facebook groups now have that. You can actually set up that. But Matt, it's recorded, so you can just check it out again tomorrow on YouTube.
Yeah, I was gonna say just go back 2 hours. Don't worry, we've been over 2 hours on this situation, so just take your time and watch it.
Yeah,
and make sure you like and subscribe. So don't cheat the system.
Yeah, everybody click that thumbs up right now. Not many people hit it yet.
Because we do this show for you guys, and we bring that raw and cut, and we bring we like to have more haulers in, asking questions and introducing yourself, because this is Tuesday where this is a family show.
Yeah, and Matt Allen, you ought to jump on here one day. He's a young guy. He's he owns a business. He's early college years. He's probably 20, 21 years old, and he's running he's got the dump trucks. He's out there killing it. I talk to him a lot. And
do you know what area he's in? What state?
Crap, I forgot. What area are you in, Matt? Jump on there and let us know.
Well, I see a lot of haulers on here, like Junk On, Junk Off. You should be getting on here. I see Easy Go Junk Removal should be coming on here. We got Joshua out there in Vegas should be coming on here.
Hey, that's my boy Josh. Shout out to Josh.
Abel should be coming on here. Moving
read
forward.
Abel's comment for us, bro.
Okay, hang on. And JB Hauling and Junk Removal should be coming on here. I think Abel's last comment was 19.5 requires special training. Only a few American tire shops offer commercial service. Most big name shops don't work on medium duty trucks due to liability. Gotta call around and find more. I know I read that good. That was nice, right?
Okay, Matt's right. Yeah, Matt's right outside of Baltimore.
So that's just what I'm talking about. When you're going with these commercial places, go to the right place and shop around, because I had to shop around before I decided, because I don't bring the vet to Les Schwab. You know what I'm saying? I bring you got to shop around to bring your situation. So whatever fits best for you. If you're on a budget and you do have to go to the guy on the corner where there's a taco truck in front of it, then that's what you got to do.
It's better to find them now than when you need them. I can tell you that right now, because if you can find them when your truck is broke down with 2 tires and they're like, where do you want to tow it? And you're like, well, fuck, I have no idea. Find the guy now, because it's easier down the road.
Build your team. Everything. You should be getting your Rolodex for everything. You got to build your network, man.
But I think
after today, we got to learn. You got to get a dumpster place in your area. You got to come friends with them. You got to come friends with a tire guy. You got to come with a mechanic. You got to get this whole team going before
you got to like and subscribe.
Build a connection.
That's it. Network, baby. Network.
But you also got to tune into the show, because you guys get all of this knowledge when you guys tune into the show, because we all come together and everybody spits that game. We got Kevin, we got Russ, we got the TODD, we got Paulie, the main MC, and you got
what's going on Friday, man? What we got going on Friday?
I don't think we should tell them yet, but you know what I mean?
We got to know. We got to let them know, bro. We got to let them know. We got some legends coming in the room.
We got some legends coming in Friday for the Forget About It Friday, and
they're gonna show up.
Yeah, we got Matt and JoJo Vic, Sonoma Strong coming through. This is gonna be a good one, guys.
He'll come through. He'll show up.
JoJo always come through. Hell yeah.
And they're coming unfiltered and unscripted.
I
Shout
don't
out
think
to
they
my
have
boy
any
Matt
kids to get
Vick.
sick.
So everybody, tune in Friday to the Forget About It Friday show and have your questions ready because Matt and JoJo's coming on. Be nice, be polite. It is the Filtered Friday show, but we got the people who are putting the
Nobody ever
2025.
would be mean to Matt and JoJo, man. That's enormous strong. That nobody.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah,
They're
it's
the only
hard.
people without haters. That's it.
Yeah. Every time I see Matt, I have to smile.
They're doing it wrong. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
That's why
Matt.
if they were doing it right, they'd have a lot of fucking haters. I'm just busting his balls, but yeah,
Nah.
Yeah,
he
nah,
knows
Matt
I'm
and
just
JoJo,
busting
we
his
love them
balls.
so
But
much.
do you
guys.
want to bust anybody's balls, Russ? Now
I-
that you say, now
No,
there's just somebody who you
Yo,
just
Russ,
can't
you're
stand.
scaring everybody off my show, bro. Ricky won't show
Hey.
up. Andrew won't show up. What are you doing here, man?
Hey,
You're
when I first
intimidating
jumped on the
everybody.
scene, Russ tried to bust my balls too. So it's all love.
I bust balls with everybody except I can't stand I can't stand people learning horse shit and thinking that they're learning something good because it pisses me off. Like people will come out here and be like, I'm so pissed off at the crackhead hauler as they go to YouTube and literally watch the fucking crackhead hauler and how he does it. Like I'm so mad at the guy that lowballs everything and fuck, I'm gonna go watch this
What
guy's
was your
videos.
answer to today when he put out his video with
I don't
adding an
watch that
employee
shit.
in the truck?
So
I
I
don't watch
watched.
it. Okay,
Let's sum it up real quick from Yee. Can you tell him real quick what the story of
So
Ricky's
I think
channel?
Ricardo's video today was, people starting their business, getting new trucks, getting employees, and the headaches of what that can become. And here's Ricardo giving his input on that. So I watch his shows all the time, and sometimes like I say to myself that I think he's talking about another person. He's not addressing the person he's talking about because why wouldn't he just say it? You know what I mean? But I think he's addressing other.
Oh, he said it about me. He's mentioned me by name multiple times in
Well,
multiple videos.
I think it's solidified with you and him. But I think, when it comes to like other content that he watches, he just won't say the name. But he's probably talking about a lot of other haulers.
Don't
And,
be a pussy. Don't talk shit and not have the balls to at least who you're gonna call out. Like that's I like you're gonna be like, oh, that one couple who makes videos on Instagram. Like, there's only fucking one of them. Just be like, hey, JT, you're a fucking putz. Whatever. Don't when you're dancing around because you're gonna be like, oh well, I wasn't talking about that couple. The bullshit you weren't. Just shut the fuck up. Just if you got something to say, just say it. Fuck, be a man. Fuck. If you don't like someone, just say I don't like you.
I think
we're raising some funds right now. Strong Son says we need Russ and Ricardo boxing match. Let's raise funds. I got $100 in the pot.
no, I don't
You know,
think.
I think
Nah, Russ
couple
don't
hundred
box.
dollars
Russ
back
is from
on
the
it,
Yeah,
maybe.
street.
I think
Russ is from the street. He ain't boxing.
I think
But-
Russ boxes with his mouth spitting out those words. I think Ricardo needs to be on one side and Russ needs to be on this side, and the Yee Yee and Paulie in the middle mediating and get it off your chest. Let's go.
See, here's the thing with them, him and the other nugget of shit. But what'll happen is they'll talk all this shit that they know everything, and then when you're like, all right, cool, let me ask you some business related questions. The immediately thing they do is no one knows you, no one knows anything about you. They won't answer a single question, right? And I texted Paul about this, so let me just tell you the intelligence of the people that you're dealing with. The guy who came up with this new CRM sold his business for $225,000. And then a day ago posted that he made $250,000 in his first year in profit. Now, it doesn't take a fucking genius to realize that if I made $250,000 in my first year, that I'm going to sell it for less than what I made in my very first year. And I'm going to include the equipment. So when you actually have a brain and look at the shit that these people talk about, and you can go, well, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense at all. But people are like, well, he sold it for $225,000. He knows what he's doing. No, he sold it at a loss if everything he says is true, which we all know it's not. Then he sold a business for less money than it was making. Why would you do that? Like, there's no reason that you would do that. That just doesn't make any sense. But people want to believe him and think, oh, this is the Messiah. No, I've been doing it for 18 years, and I pick up $45 fridges the whole 2 decades I've been doing it. Oh,
So,
yeah, Jesus.
so Russ, are you trying to say that you think that maybe he didn't sell his business?
I don't know if he necessarily did. I mean, he may have, but I find a lot of what that whole transaction was to be bullshit. And if you go back to the one that I was on when he fucking decided to have an emergency and couldn't come on, I dissected his entire business. And I think when I got done, I said he sold his business. If he was making 225,000 or 250, he sold it for $175,000 plus cost of equipment. That's what he sold. He sold a business that makes 250 for 175. Now I don't know. There's very few people that would do that. You either got hurt, you got a lawsuit, or you didn't sell it. I don't know. There's something is there that doesn't make sense.
Well,
But no one looks at it.
Well, I think we definitely have to one day, get that guy's opinion on everything, and you got to come to the table, and
Yeah.
and that's just we got to get all sides of the story, and
But
there's another show for that.
he's gonna lie about it. He'll lie about it. And Ricky too. I mean, it's like everybody goes out there and praises this guy's, and kisses his ass, and he fills a 40-yard container a week. I mean, give me a fucking
Matt, Matt said he's going to hire PJ and Russ. That was funny.
I think it's PI Russ.
PI private investigator.
Oh, PI Russ. Okay.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, when you've been doing it long enough, it's like if you're a doctor and a doctor walks in and you're like, oh, my shoulder hurts, and he moves your shoulder 3 times and goes, surgery, rotator cuff. You've seen it enough times and you've talked to enough people and you've understood the game long enough that it's very easy to pick it apart. And the guys who are in the business who are new a year, 2 years in are just like, oh my God, look at this guy. And the guys that are doing more money than him aren't selling their businesses for less than what they're making in 1 year.
Let me ask you, bro. Do you think it's a good thing? Like, is it helping the industry grow and all bringing in these new people? Is it hurting it because now people are kind of getting like a full sense of security and maybe jumping a little too quick? Like, what do you think is happening from it?
Well, I think that, when you start producing videos, and it's not just him or Retardo, but a lot of the other people who get in there, and the first thing they do is, oh, I made $2,600 in 2 hours. And so now you're getting all the clickbait in. And the people that are entering this game are not, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody, so please, my God, don't take this the wrong way. But a lot of the people who are getting into junk removal aren't of the brightest intelligence. And so what they don't have in intelligence, they have in back labor. So they know I can lift that stuff. I can do the manual labor of it. So they assume that because they watch these guys do it, they can jump in and do it. And they realize real quickly that it isn't just back labor you need. You know what I mean? And so when you're trying to push like, oh, I did $2,500 in a month, or in a day, and then you go out and you sell your SEO and Google ad services to a guy who's got a truck and a trailer, you're doing him a disservice because he can't do $2,500 in a day by himself with a truck and a trailer. And there's a lot of falsehoods in it. There's a lot of people that see just the fantasy of bullshit of it.
Yeah.
They don't see the holy fuck, I didn't pay my bills this month because the guy that was supposed to pay me didn't pay me and now I'm fucked. Or, oh, I went out and I got this $2,000 job and the next day $2,000 job, but they only think that because, Andrew did it in a year that they should be able to do it, but they can't. They don't understand it. And there's no explanation of why you're not going to get to what you see on TV. It just isn't going to happen. And it pisses me off to see all these new people come into it who are trying to compete with guys like me and Kevin and who've been around and David Wise at fucking Got Junk. Dave knows, or Jeff knows him. I've talked to him many a times. You're trying to compete with these guys and it's just like you look at them and it's like you really have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Oh, well, I watched YouTube and Retardo said that I should pick up fridges for $45 and jump out at people and go boo. And I mean, come on, shut the fuck up, And the other thing too is,
can you give us an example? Like, how could they like kind of put people on? Like, maybe they don't mean to do that. If they're just trying to get people the more views and all on them, but like, how can they like, let people see the other side too, so that it's not just all rainbows and unicorns. And because I 100% agree, I'm right there, bro. I watched that, you know, I came in like that, and you know, there was a lot of things that, you know, I thought was going to be a lot easier, and I didn't really think at, and I put myself, and I'm like, yo, I'm one of those guys that I have a lot of experience in other businesses, so you know, I'll figure it out. Where just like you're saying, there's guys that never been in business and kind of jump right in, and now they're like, oh shit, bro, I just put in a lot of money in here. I was listening to everything they said on YouTube, and kind of if you do listen to it, you'll go broke, because everybody is trying to get in your pocket right away and sell you a service, telling you you need that service or you're not going to be successful. So you start wondering, like, what is real, what's not, what do I need to pay for, what don't I need to. And it's like, that's why I made the show for Forget About Fridays, was kind of for myself to unconfuse myself, like what the hell is real and who's just selling me like fluff, you know. And that's why I love when I met you, bro. And I think a lot of people in the chat could agree. There is no fluff. You're going to say it straight up how it is, man. And take it or leave it. This is the honest truth. You know what I mean? And I respect that a lot. And that's why you're always on my channel, because that is a reason right there.
And I love listening to you, Russ.
Todd, just talk, baby. You don't got to raise your hand. Just fucking talk.
I got a question for Russ.
Go ahead,
Question
man.
for Russ. I don't know if he remembers. Back when you first started, you remember this was 2018, 2020?
2018,
Somewhere around there. 2018,
yeah.
okay. Remember that one guy, Joseph Martinez, got Vets Junk or Junk Vets?
Troops Hall Junk, yeah.
Troops Hall Junk, and he, next thing you know, he's franchising and da-da-da, and I haven't heard from him since.
I don't talk to him much.
Me neither.
I don't know what happened to him because we don't stay in contact. We used to talk all the time, and then there was some stuff going on that he was rumored to have some involvement in that was really fucking a lot of junk companies over. So I just blocked him, and I just stopped talking to him. From what I've understood, is he's in some trouble, and the franchises aren't doing that great. And but that's what I've heard. Again, I don't talk to him one-on-one, but yeah, we don't communicate anymore.
What was the business? What was the business called?
Vets Hall Junk or Troops Hall Junk or something.
It started
like
out
that.
as Vets Hall Junk, and then he would do YouTube videos all the time, and then it turned into he was going to franchise, and he went into Troops Hall Junk, and then he signed up like 3 people, and
North Carolina.
One of the guys
Stanford, Virginia.
Yeah, and one of the guys that signed up with him ended up leaving, and then he went into franchising. Apparently, I like I said, I don't know much about him. I just, from what I've heard, the franchise agreement was pretty bad, and basically nobody's buying into him. That's the last I heard. I don't know. You can look. You can do a search on how many locations they have, but I think it's probably still the original 3 guys that got together and just threw their name on it.
I think they have 3 locations.
This is the part that we got to work on. We got to get you to bring it up on the screen next time. So we're gonna work on it this week so that we could start showing things on the screen and all that for everybody. We got to get on to that.
Let me buy another MacBook 4 and get that going. Let me
well, that 707 connection, get your homies to throw in right now, bro.
Get some more software.
Where's the other 2 turns? Throw in, let's get him another MacBook, bro.
By the way,
but back to Ricardo. So Ricardo
Ricky,
got all these Ricky, whatever his name is, whatever. So Junk Guy Sacramento has nothing to do with him, and he's had the name for forever. And he's
done. Ivan, I don't think is in Junk no more. He just he finished.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, but when he had the name.
Yeah, no, I was wondering the same thing with that. How did that happen?
Exactly. How did that happen?
He probably had the name originally in California, and it's probably like anything else. He probably had the original Junk Guy's name in the California market, in the state of California. And then Ricky probably just said, "Oh, yeah, you can use my name," and just did something stupid and just threw his name out there.
Well, he probably wanted to branch out to California to say, "I have a location in California," but
he's got one shit location. That's it.
Well, obviously the Ivan thing didn't work out either.
No, No, Ivan never franchised with him. I mean, not a franchise,
Yeah,
but
he had
bought
nothing.
into that.
He had
Oh.
nothing to do with it. And
Oh.
Ricky
Nothing.
actually made a video saying, like, why is this guy using my name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure Ricky
You can-
talked to him without TV.
Well,
and
I
said,
think
hey.
it
If
is
it's not a
pretty
franchise,
common
you can
name.
use it. You can
I
use the
don't think
same
it's
name in different
unique.
states.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you
Gotcha.
can use an A+ junk removal in Wyoming or Delaware or wherever, but you can't in New York. If I was a franchise, it would be trademarked, and you wouldn't be able to use it unless
That's
I
what I
gave
was
you
gonna
permission to
say.
use it. So that's the difference.
Okay.
It's per state, and likely it was Ivan probably had it first, and then now Ricky was like, "Oh, I'll get in there," and now he realizes he can't.
What are you kidding? Ricky's 18 years in, bro.
Yeah,
He started,
what do you mean?
he
What do you
started
mean?
junk removal, bro.
You
There
know what
was
I
no
mean?
junk removal before Ricky, man. Come on.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Dream house, dreamland.
Nothing
Yeah,
like
I mean-
shipping containers is your house.
Yeah, whoa. You know what I mean?
I gotta give it. I want to give respect to him though with that. He worked hard for everything, man.
Yes,
you gotta be
100%.
proud. He did good, man. You know,
Yeah,
he's built his-
100%.
Yeah,
He has suckered a lot of retards in his life, and good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
spend
know
the
how many
money that.
$45 fridges you guys thought they build that shit, man? Like,
Just think of
come
how many think of how many 110 video courses he had to sell for $1.99. Think of the value you're getting for $2 on that one, boys.
Whoa.
You got to watch 110 videos for $2 to learn nothing.
Matt Allen has a question. He says, any other maintenance tips on trucks, Kevin or Russ, like the tire information you had?
Keep up on maintenance is really the one that I would say. Stay ahead of the
It's-
trucks.
Definitely maintenance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's number one. You have to, that preventative maintenance is something that's always going to be very, very important to keep those trucks running.
Yeah,
You want to get over that
Kevin, you used
300,000 mile.
I remember you showed me at the expo everything to go over. I think it was with WD-40 and the grease.
No,
everything.
the grease points and everything that you have to do.
The one thing that I
stay
will
on
tell
that from
everybody,
that day, man. That's definitely something you want to keep doing on the trucks.
every oil change you do on any truck, I don't care where it is, on any of the Isuzus or any roll-off trucks or anything like that, not so much on pickups, but make sure they grease the kingpins, because if they do not grease the kingpins, you're going to burn through those things. And the Isuzus are a real bitch, because you have to actually have it lifted in the air in order for them to be able to get to the points. So when you have them do your oil changes, or when you do it, just grease the entire front end of the truck, because it'll save you on the kingpins, and the kingpins are about $2,000 to have a set done, and then it's off the road for a day. So really, if that's your only truck, it's going to cost you $5,000 or whatever to do a set of kingpins. So just stay up on the kingpins, maintenance, grease every joint on the hoist, on the the back, the rollers, whatever truck you have. Just stay with the maintenance on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
use
able
fuel
to-
stabilizer in diesels if you're not driving them that much. If you're, just letting them sit around. Don't run out of gas in a diesel. Do not fucking run out of gas in a diesel. Just don't do it.
Yes, because then you got to prime them, and it's just
Uh,
a pain in the fucking ass.
It's
Yo,
2 hours
the
of
other thing
labor.
on the NPR, man, you know how it has the bar on the back? Like you could have it or you could take it off on the back bed.
That's for pull-ups, chin-ups.
Yeah, that's what I mean, where I would do the chin-ups and
You
all.
know what I'm saying?
I
Chin-ups.
took that off because it just gets in the way.
Mhm.
Does that mess with the with anything? Is it going to flex or anything?
I don't
from
think
it?
that's something that's normal on most of them. I think that's just the one that was built for you. Because I don't,
Yeah.
I saw that bar on yours, and I haven't seen
You
that.
knew
on
I
any
wanted a
other
chin-up
truck.
bar, bro.
Yeah,
I thought he was talking about the
maybe.
tarp arm bar.
What is the
No,
purpose
it was
of that,
actually a
though?
bar.
I
Goes
think-
above the door, and
I think the purpose for that is for when people tailgate Paulie, he takes that bar off and swipes him over the head and says, "Hey, yo, over here." You're
Does
tailgating
anybody
over
know
here,"
the
you know
actual
what I mean?
purpose?
think it's
I know it
balance
definitely
or
helps with like stability in the back and all that.
Yeah,
Keeping
from
it
the
tighter.
walls. I think from the walls, when you have big loads or something, from the walls they don't move.
Yeah, but the problem that I
know.
come up is it gets in the way of things. Like you got something big and you're trying to throw in the
Yeah,
back.
no doubt, no doubt.
I did that for like 2 weeks and I was like, hell no. And I got that bar out. But then I was like
Yeah.
thinking, am I going to experience something else? Like, is that going to mess with like the frame in any kind of way? Is there going to be a flex that I'm, shouldn't have?
I don't know. I've never seen that on any other truck.
I've never
so-
seen it either.
I've seen them on trailers. I've seen them on trailers. I think it's more of a stabilization or something like that. But
I
I
did
don't
the same
think
yeah.
thing, Paul. I did
Bar.
the same thing.
Yeah, I
I
would.
used to have me on the Mustang underneath. They put the stabilization bars. Yours is the only one I've seen that bar on, and you usually see that on off-market trailers. It's to help keep the walls from warping or something. Yeah,
See?
that's
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Extra support.
Yo, Paul, what did Bob sell you? Yo, wait a minute.
Well,
Yo,
I told him I like
yo,
pull-ups,
Paul,
bro, and he was like,
what
"I'm gonna hook you up when you're at the dump. You could go and do some
this
pull-ups,
isn't a
man."
this is a Olympic bar in the back. There you go. Paul hooked you up. It has grip on it, everything. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
He sold me on that, bro. I don't know,
Yeah,
man. It
you
was a
know.
done deal. I seen that. It
Well,
was done.
I'm gonna take off because I got other stuff I got to do before tomorrow.
We're
But
all taking on. We've been on forever
Yeah, we've
tonight,
been.
guys.
you
I just
guys
want
do
to
good.
Almost 3 hours.
everybody coming on, everybody in the chat.
I'm not trying to
Appreciate
shit
all
on
the
you, but I got other
comments.
stuff to do. You guys are great.
Russ,
I
have
just,
a good night, Russ.
Have a good
Yeah,
night,
Kevin, it
brother.
was good
Hey,
talking
Russ.
to you.
Everybody
us
can
East Coasters. It's past
everybody,
our
if you want
bedtime
to,
on the East
yeah,
Coast
you
here.
know, there's a lot of people don't know, but you can reach out to Russ Berry on Facebook, and this guy
I
check
would,
his content out.
I would love to do. I actually thought about having my own show and doing this, where I would bring on like other people who are at like elite levels in different parts of the business,
Yeah.
and actually just
Oh,
take calls. Someone would just call or jump in like this, and they would have a problem, and it would be like
nice.
a board of advisors, and there would be like
Mhm.
2 or 3 of us that would who have gone through that, and someone could
Yeah.
come in with like one of their biggest pain points, and we
Mhm.
could work it out right on the show and just be like, all right, what's your biggest pain point? I don't know how
So,
to hire or this or that.
so Russ, would you say that maybe we kind of influenced you and made you feel more comfortable behind the camera to talk like this?
No, no, I've been talking like this since I could shit in a toilet. So I've been doing this
Since
for
Moby
40.
Dick was the sardine.
Yeah, absolutely. Since I took my first breath out of my mom's cooter, I've been talking like this. So um
Since I've been
yeah,
driving a Razor scooter.
I'm
You know what I'm
comfortable
talking
talking about it, but some people aren't
Okay.
comfortable hearing it. But yeah,
No.
I mean, I think that, if you could do a show or like one segment where you get, a couple guys who have been in the business a long time to go over things, not marketing and sales. Fuck my God, it's been beat to death. Should I do Google ads? That is like the least of your issues. Because if you can't close the click, it doesn't do you any good. So,
Yeah.
going over closing techniques and numbers
Well,
and things you need to know and KPIs and things like that, and actually teach people the back end stuff of
yeah.
the business, like me and Kevin know, not
Mhm.
just putting up, oh, I made $2,000 in 5 minutes.
Yeah, clickbait. So basically, Russ, I think that might be a show in the making. The sit down with Russ, the get
It could
down,
be anybody.
and you allow people to call in or video in, and
Bro,
tell their
don't tell it. Don't tell everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna see Ricky next week with this going on. Stop. We got it.
I might have
we're
to
gonna
have
make
Russ.
it happen.
You won't see either one of them on a video with me. I can guarantee you that Ricky is not going to pick up the phone and call in, and I guarantee you that Shit Nugget isn't either, because they both
Mhm.
know that it's going to take a matter of 30 seconds. Here, I just want everyone to know this too, just to let everyone know about the blatant lies that Shit Nugget tells, not Retardo, but the other one. When you guys had a show, one of the other ones that you guys did, and he was talking about why I didn't like him, and we were talking about boxing, okay? And Matt Vick was supposedly he was going through the whole thing. He was going to promote this boxing thing, and he even said Matt and JoJo were cool with it, and we were going to do it at the Junk Expo, and he let out with that. And then when I was on your show and I talked about it, Matt and JoJo made a comment that said we ran the whole thing and we didn't know anything about it. So you listen to what the guy tells you. It's to make himself sound really, really good, when in fact everything he's talking about never adds up. From the boxing match and JoJo saying they were cool with it, to them saying I didn't know anything about it, to him selling his business for less than what he apparently made in 1 year's profit. Like, there's a lot of bullshit that goes into that guy, and I really honestly hope no one listens to either one of them. Honest to God. And I would love to go. I would go any business question they want to talk about junk removal, head to head with a referee in front of everybody. I will 100% go at them any day of the week. You tell me about your business, I'll tell you about mine, and I'll ask you questions about your business, and you can ask all you want about mine. And we'll see after about 15 minutes of how fast they have a disconnection or another emergency. Will never
Ricky,
happen.
that challenge is out to you, brother. 18 years of experience. Russ
Yeah.
is challenging you right
Yeah.
now, and he says it has to be on my show only.
Yeah.
Let's
Ask any
make it
question
happen.
you want. Don't
Oh,
ask
right,
me
guys.
forget about it.
don't ask me how
That's
many
it.
followers I have on YouTube. Don't be like, oh, nobody knows you because you only have 170 YouTube likes or whatever. No, shut up and just sit down and say, why is your business so much better than mine? And what profit margins do you make on your 40-yard dumpster by not dragging it over here and dragging it over there? And yeah, they wouldn't last 10 minutes.
Well, we want that to happen. I'd love for that. Thank you, guys. What an amazing show. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna take your advice, brother. We're gonna implement some of those tips he gave us. We're gonna definitely get that going on. Forget About It Fridays, guys. This Friday, make sure you guys tune in. We got Forget About It Fridays gonna go down 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. East Coast. We got Matt and JoJo Vic from Sonoma Strong coming on there. The legends of junk removal. Please come on, get your questions ready. It's gonna be a great one. And if you haven't already, make sure you got your expo tickets, October 24th, 25th. Come hang out with all of us. The 707's going to be there. Kevin's coming through. I'm over here. It's going to be a great time, everybody.
Also,
thank you. Yo, what up?
Also, make sure you guys tune into the Yee Yee show.
Yeah,
Don't
when's
forget
that?
about
When's that coming on
the
next?
The Yee Yee show drops every every Wednesday or Monday. We're throwing out so much more new content coming out. The 707 connection. That's a whole different situation. We're dropping so many shows with them, and we're just bringing this whole junk removal situation more funner, more entertaining, and everybody gets to be part of it. And it's just we're here for the people, and it's the takeover. But you guys make sure you guys tune into No Limit Hauling and Junk Removal, and tap into Strong Sons YouTube. Make sure you tap into Three Kings Hauling YouTube. Support the movement and support the brothers, because we do this for you guys.
Love it. Kevin, thank you again for coming on, brother.
Hey,
Appreciate
anytime.
everything you share with us. It is just absolutely gold. The 707 connection, thank you again. Appreciate you guys. And we will see you guys this Friday. Make sure to tune in. Get over to Mr. Yee's channel on No Limit Hauling tomorrow. They got their big show coming on. Make sure to tune in then. Have a great night, everybody.
Later, Teague.